Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
The World Center of Racing is what they call it. The very venue to host the iconic 24 Hours of Daytona, the Daytona 500, and a plethora of other motorsport sanctioning bodies. The Daytona International Speedway, opening in 1959, has been a staple of the motorsports calendar since its inception. Tonight, we have the GT4 category of racing machines, the same cars that are used in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge, taken to the famed 3.56 mile road course tonight for 124 minutes of racing action. Welcome race fans to Pit Stop TV. As usual, we are live to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter this evening. Trey Shuttlesworth joins me in the booth, Corey Rexford on social media, and I'm Emerson Arden, and this is Pit Stop TV's live coverage of the Operation eMotorsport Winter 2021 season opener. And we join you this evening from the virtual Daytona Beach, Florida. And Trey, this track, it does everything. It's got everything. And any driver who's able to win here are immediately recognized as a Daytona winner. It is huge on a driver's resume, and it makes drivers feel a certain type of way to compete at a track like this.
Yeah, Emerson, first of all, it's a pleasure to be joining you in the booth tonight. Glad to have Corey on board as well on our social media platforms, whether that be Facebook or Twitter tonight. But yeah, whether it be real life or here on the iRacing.com sim, starting off your road racing season in Daytona is, synonymous with whether it be IMSA or, in this case, the Operation eMotorsport series. And this season will also be stepping up into GT4 machinery. Last season, you could see drivers racing in global Mazda MX-5 Miatas. So it's going to be a big step up both in terms of horsepower and handling. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And Daytona, while it has a lot of heavy braking zones, also will probably play host to a lot of slipstream battles just due to how long the straightaways are, where you are purely flat out.
Well, as he mentioned straightaways, let's take a look at what we are working with. And here's the track map of the road course. You see Dustin Burkhalter with the fastest lap there. They are currently qualifying. They're about halfway through their qualifying session. So we'll get the chance to see what we're working with here. But of course, you come through the tri-oval, the famed Daytona start-finish line down into turn number 1, heavy braking zone. Now you're at the highest speed from the track to one of the lowest speed portions of the track. You curve your way through the S's down to the International Horseshoe of turn 3. You get back up to the gears, full song on your way to the kink, and then you're flying down to the West Horseshoe, another heavy braking zone. Come out of turn 5, back up to speed, another heavy braking zone, turn 6, and then your full song around NASCAR 1 and 2 down the back straightaway. You find the bus stop chicane, turns 9 and 10. You rock it out of there, and you're back up to speed once again, and you're flying through NASCAR 3 and 4. That's a lap around the Daytona road course, and it looks easy to a lot of people. You say, well, half the track is an oval. How can this be a hard circuit for drivers? And let me tell you, it can be a challenge, and it can definitely bite some drivers if you're not careful. Maybe because if you think it is easy, it's gonna catch you out on some of the hardest parts. That kink, it is very tricky to go in there. If you're battling anybody, it's a single wide deal, or if you're going double wide, it is absolutely insane if you can hold it through there. In the horseshoes, very tricky, very slippery, very slick corners, and you have to be almost perfect with the throttle application on corner exit of 3 and 5, and pretty much any time coming off the oval or coming onto the oval 6 and 10. Very treacherous corners as well. This track has it all.
Yeah, Emerson, if you're in a corner where, that isn't one of the NASCAR corners where you have to apply some braking or lifting, you're really not in for an easy time. The other, really unique thing about this track is you basically have 180-degree corners back-to-back here, and they both present their own unique challenges. Turn 3, the International Horseshoe. Of course, in real life, there's a lot of flags to nationalities of drivers flying in that corner, but that's a pretty conventional 180-degree corner. You head to the West Horseshoe, though, and you're basically coming through the kink on the limit, and as soon as you straighten the car out, you're normally right into the braking zone, and then it is quite an odd apex to try to find there. And then once you get through there, turn 6 presents a lot of challenge. If you have difficulties getting back onto the power there, it's going to punish you for probably, 30 seconds in these GT4 cars before you get to the bus stop. And if you screw up the bus stop, that yet again is going to punish you for another 30 seconds, and you have to think about that before you get to yet another absolutely difficult braking zone in turn 1.
The flow of Daytona, it's a fun one for sure. If you get the chance to drive this track, it is an absolute blast. And well, we don't have the chance to drive it tonight, but these drivers do. Let's see what is going on down on the track. Qualifying is underway. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the session. Right now, it is top of the charts for Paul Lindsay, one of our pro drivers. Not on the track right now. We'll catch up with Christopher Bailey, though, who's out on track. Here he comes, working his way. This is turn number 6. Again, you have to be perfect through 6 because this can make or break lap time. And he's got drivers right behind him. You're going to have already a great sight of what Slipstream can do at this track. And I know there's a little bit of a distance. There's actually quite a bit of a distance. So this might not be closed in a single run through the Slipstream. But I can tell you right now, the drivers behind Christopher Bailey right now are getting a huge benefit from the Slipstream right now.
And unfortunately for Bailey, he is getting none of that benefit, especially in cars such as these. You could probably gain, like a second if you're within the slipstream of someone on a lap like this. You're not going to see it have the same effect as you might see in Miatas, which have a little bit less than 200 horsepower. These Porsches and BMWs we're racing tonight have somewhere in the mid 400 in terms of horsepower, about 425 for the Porsches, and then about 431 according to iRacing specs for the BMW. So despite that, they do have their own respective handling characteristics. Conventionally, the BMW does tend to be a little bit stronger in a straight line, so it should have that benefit on the straightaways here, but the Porsche should handle a little bit better in cornering. So we'll have to see tonight if that holds true.
For sure. Something I noticed coming into tonight, and very, very proud of Dustin Burkhalter for moving from the open category of last season into the pro category. It was very fun to watch Dustin last season really compete with Chris Walsh and give his heart out to try to win some of those races overall as an open driver. Now he's a pro driver, and there's more pro drivers. It's going to be a taller task and a little bit of a reputation to hold up here. How do you feel about Dustin Burkhalter coming into today? Right now he's 6th in qualifying.
He's, just based historically off of what we saw last season, he's probably going to be the man to beat this season. Now, that depends on whether or not we see Chris Walsh show up at all this season. Walsh was a man who claimed just about every overall victory last season. In fact, I think the only man to dethrone him was Burkhalter, who claimed about 2 overall wins last season as a member of the Open class. Of course, as you said, Emerson, he's moving up to the Pro class this year, which has grown quite a bit. But no, he claimed 7 of 8 wins within his class last season. So I definitely think he has a talent. He just has to execute here. And it's going to be a long one here at Daytona. This will be the longest race of the season, Emerson. 2 hours and 4 minutes. Most races are conventionally going to be 60 minutes.
Yep, this is the one of 2 races this season that will be longer than 60 minutes. This one, 2 hours and 4 minutes. I would say definitely in the light of the iRacing Daytona 24 and the real live 24 Hours of Daytona coming up in the coming weekends would be a huge factor for why this race is 2 hours and 4 minutes. And then we end the season at Sebring for another 2-hour event where we had the iRacer Remembrance back in November, 6-hour event with these cars, and a lot of these drivers did participate in that event. So I'm sure that's an event a lot of drivers are looking forward to. And then a lot of 60-minute sprint races to wrap up, to right in the meat of the schedule that is going to be the heart of the racing this season.
Yep, Emerson. And just looking at what we saw last season, we're going to a lot of unique venues as opposed to our fall season of the Operation eMotorsport calendar. Some new circuits that I don't recognize from last season include Circuit Gilles Villeneuve up in, I believe it's Quebec, up in Montreal. Sonoma Raceway was on the schedule last year. And Mid-Ohio will be the second to last round this season as well. So a lot of new stops. And then some returning members, including the opening round of last season in Virginia International Raceway, Canadian Tire, and of course, as you said, Emerson Sebring's going to be a lot of fun as well to wrap things up. And just as we say that qualifying is here, wrapping up as well.
Yeah, there's a couple of drivers out there getting their last gasp at a time here right now. We have Tim Bernard on screen, sat 22nd to the line. What time is he going to post? Will he improve? He does improve. and it puts him 21st. So he'll gain a spot out of that last gasp, and he's the last car on track. So that will do it for qualifying. It will be Paul Lindsay on the pole for today's race, and well, we have about 50 seconds left here in qualifying, so real quick, I do want to shout out and talk about Operation Motorsport a bit. And what Operation Motorsport is a veteran-led, non-profit foundation based in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Brighton, Ontario. It was founded on the basis of 3 simple words: excite, engage, and empower. Its mission is to engage through motorsport activities ill and injured service members and disabled veterans affected by military service, leading to aiding in their recovery and rehabilitation. For more information, please visit operationmotorsport.org. And the timer is still running out, but it is a short pace lap, so if we have the access to it, yep, we're gonna, well, no, not yet, we'll have a few more seconds, but we'll roll through our starting lineup right about now as qualifying will tick over, and now the grid will be official. So we can roll through it. In row number 1, it'll be, of course, Paul Lindsay, and to his outside, open driver Christopher Bailey, making up row number 1. Row 2 will find Brandon Egersick, and to his outside, pro driver Tyler Langenberg, a couple of pro drivers making up row number 2. Row 3, same thing, it'll be Shane Hunter and Dustin Burkhalter. Row number 4 will find Sean Knight and Rodney Campbell. And in row number 5, we will find David Levine and Thomas Outson.
So then, as we see a plane land on the virtual airport here in Daytona, we'll look beyond the first 5 rows. It's going to be Travis Hill, a pro driver, joined by beneficiary, and Theo Brulsema. And then in what will be row 7 tonight, it's going to be Jason Leech on the inside, and then he will be accompanied by Brock Hogan. 15th and 16th will respectively be Rick Hazlitt and Callum Beldam, and then behind those two, it'll be Justin Jarrett, who I believe is a newcomer to the series, joined by Brian Burkhart. Then making up what will be row 10 tonight, it's Brian Winker, joined by John Winker.
We'll fall back to the next. This is row number 11. We'll find Tim Bernard, who just snagged 21st there at the end of qualifying, and he'll be alongside Jay Gleason in row number 11. Row 12, we will find Mark Bray and David Dalton. Row 13, we will find Hunter Reeve and Kurt Guyden Kalk. Number 14, and that is it. Actually, we'll have 26 entries today. Didn't see Kurt on the entry list until late, so he must have jumped in last second. But yeah, we're getting ready to go. The field is gridded up right before the bus stop chicane, so not a lot of time right after that qualifying session to get into the mindset to go racing. 124 minutes around this track. Trey, what's your, if you're in this field, what's your game plan?
Well, considering the fact that there's going to be no driver slops like we saw in the last Operation eMotorsports event, the iRacing Remembrance, which was 6 hours, you just have to be consistent, especially at a place like Daytona. It may, in a lot of ways, seem simple to get around, but there's a lot of places where you can get punished, and it can be very easy to go off track. Not a lot of off-track pavement runoff areas in certain parts of the racetrack, such as the International Horseshoe and going through the kink. But there are other places where you will be able to be forgiven if you make mistakes. So just very simply, be consistent, keep the car clean. It's what you're going to need to do to stay in the race tonight. And then just based off historic trends, and what the fuel limits are on these vehicles, should see about 1 pit stop. So make sure you execute there, get on the pit limiter, do your job there. And yeah, that should be about it to get the job done here at Daytona, and make the most of the slipstream as well.
Well, as the field 13 rows deep of BMW and Porsche GT4 vehicles work their way off of the final corner, NASCAR turn number 4, the iRacing.com Porsche safety car will find the safety of the pit lane, and Paul Lindsay will lead us to the green flag. We're racing at Daytona.
And as the field heads off into turn 1 for the first time today, you see how much of an advantage starting from the pole position can have here in the iRacing.com service, as Lindsay is away by about half of a second already as he's heading into the International Horseshoe for the first time here at Daytona.
Looking at the pack in the back, looks like everybody makes it through the first set of corners pretty clean, but we still have the rest of the tricky infield, especially on a hot, slick day. Oh, we got a spin in the back. We got a few cars back here. Thomas Altson, Rick Hazlitt involved. And that's a result of what happens in a pack of highly competitive cars into a very tight 180-degree corner, as you alluded to in the intro.
Yeah, not entirely uncommon to see things occur in the International Horseshoe on lap 1 here at Daytona, but it didn't look, honestly, like the worst incident that I think we've seen here, just historically speaking. But for the most part, everyone looks to be clean for the most part, but you will know if you have any damage when you get onto that straightaway and you're slightly down on pace.
Well, we'll go ahead and take a look at the replay. Looks like everybody made it through the infield clean, so here it is. And... oh, somebody caught the grass there. That's the 22 of Jason Leech. He made contact with who was that? That was the 23 of Thomas Altson, and they pretty much had a small pile up there, but it was really no harm, no foul once everybody got down and away. Let's see once again if we can see what had happened. This is Jason Leech. We're gonna actually ride on board with Jason, and let's see. Gets to the brakes. I think he wheel hops under braking, and he's gonna collect Altson right there.
Yeah, Emerson, not entirely uncommon for that to happen on cold brakes and cold tires, but it shouldn't be the end of the world for these guys. Still relatively early in the race. And if these guys do get into a pretty critical accident, they do have a couple of quick repairs available, which will fix any damage to the car in an instant. It's just that you will, as a result, have to lose a lot of time when you duck down onto the pit lane.
Yep. Well, other than that incident in the International Horseshoe, we had a very clean first lap. And right now, Paul Lindsay out to a 1.1 second advantage. A little bit of racing back here. Langenberg had something to say with Brandon Egersek, but Egersek was able to hold on, and we continue on down to run to turn 6. Again, a very, very important corner to your lap. Momentum gainer or momentum ender, really, right here off of turn 6. If you can't get the throttle down, or if you can, it is huge to your lap time, and we really have a battle brewing actually here for the 5th position. This is Dustin Burkhalter on Shane Hunter.
And we'll get to ride on board with Burkhalter in one of the most critical parts of the racetrack, just because it sets up for a place where if you make a mistake, it sets up for a great opportunity for your opponents to overtake you, or perhaps for you to be the one overtaken if you nail it as he continues to chase down. And this will be for the final spot in the top 5. That's Shane Hunter, who is another member of the pro class. So currently these guys will be battling for the last spot in the podium in their class respectively right now. And I think he's getting the slipstream to potentially have a run as we head into turn 1.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting. He's setting it up big time down through NASCAR 3 and 4, and now onto the straightaway. He's looking to go to the outside, and he's going to push him down the front straightaway. Now he sends it to driver's left, and we go into turn number 1. They're going to go side by side. It looks like Burkhalter has the advantage. Who can outbrake who? Burkhalter outbreaks Shane Hunter for 5th. Fastest lap goes to Tyler Langenberg there. That time buys to complete their 2nd lap of action.
So that was a textbook example of how to make the use of that section of the race course. And really, the overtake wasn't too difficult in that sense for Dustin Burkhalter, just because he had most of the work done by the time he got to the braking zone in turn 1. We'll backtrack a little bit into the midst of the chaos of the midfield right now, looking at battles including Callum Belden, Rick Hazlitt, and who's the driver behind him? Let me double check here. It is a Justin Jarrett, who's a newcomer to the series this season.
You'll have a double wide off of the International Horseshoe. Rick Hazlitt able to power back by Callum Belden. We work our way through the kink, and very, very tightly contested here in the, well, I say midfield. This is closer towards the back of the field, and ascend. Almost contact there between Justin Jarrett and Callum Belden. Justin Jarrett, what a move, and he has a little bit of an issue off the West Horseshoe in contact.
I'll take out one of his competitors as a result. That's going to be Sean Knight, who's going to have to look for a little bit of clean space on the racetrack. I think he's finally found it. so he'll get back out on the oval, but it's going to be a massive loss of time, and that's probably going to be a decent amount of damage as a result as well, as we get a look at a replay here.
Yeah, that was something. We'll see here once again the battle, and here it is, the send from Justin Jarrett. It was a great send, and he got cleared, and I think he just got on the throttle a little too much, and then tried to rejoin, and just right there, not the place to rejoin for Justin Jarrett. That is gonna be huge for Sean Knight. We'll get another look at it. We'll ride on board with Sean Knight to see what he saw.
Yeah, hit that heavy. It looks like it probably would have been suspension damage there on the 65 M4, I believe it is, of Sean Knight. And yeah, as you said, Emerson will get a little bit of a look here and see what things look like from his perspective, backtracking to going through the kink and into this West Horseshoe.
Yeah, well, here we go on board with Sean Knight, and yeah, I mean, you see there's the 11 of Callum Beldam, and then just out of nowhere, there's the 85, and he tried to rejoin as quick as he could, and just bad timing. I'm sure it wasn't intentional, but that's rough.
It just goes to show that despite the fact that these cars don't have a massive amount of horsepower, it's still a lot that you have to wrangle off the exit of the corner when you're getting back onto the throttle, especially at an awkward corner like that coming out of the West Horseshoe.
Well, how about up front? Paul Lindsay, Christopher Bailey going at it for the top spot. Can we have an overtake attempt here? Christopher Bailey setting up Lindsay down the back straightaway. He's going to peek to the inside into the bus stop. Hard on the binders. Here we go. They're going double wide through the bus stop. Lindsay, Bailey contact. A little bit of a bump. We continue on, but now introduce Brandon Eggersick into the battle. And Tyler Langenberg, a 4-car battle for the race lead.
And by going double wide into some of the fastest corners of the racetrack, all that did is open the door for several more competitors. And now the top 5 are going to be under a blanket, all within a second of race leader Paul Lindsay. Still barely early into the running as we come to the completion of yet another lap at Daytona.
This is crazy. This looks like the front of a pack you would see in the Daytona 500, but this is GT4 cars going at it and ascend in the braking zone. Christopher Bailey will clear to the race lead. Brandon Eggersick now trying to clear past Paul Lindsay, and everybody scatters through the exit of turn number 1. A little bit of dust kicked up there, but no harm, no foul. We continue on. Tyler Langenberg trying to clear into 3rd, and now Paul Lindsay under attack from Dustin Berghalter. How quickly things change. Paul Lindsay was just the leader coming off the bus stop, and he now faces possibly losing 4th to Dustin Berghalter.
Yeah, what Lindsay has to do now is just keep executing through the parts of the racetrack where you have to go through a lot of heavy braking zones. And he'll have this opportunity to get some overtakes done if he gets just stays in there once he gets back onto the oval portion of the racetrack. But yeah, that's going to open the door for Christopher Bailey, who's in the open class to be the man leading the race. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of mixing up between the pro and open guys. Even if most of the guys up front are pro guys, they actually make up the 2nd through 7th positions on the racetrack right now.
Well, we continue on as things calm down a little bit. David Levine wants something to say to Shane Hunter. He is closing the gap in the battle for 6th. We'll see if Levine can get a run down the back straightaway here. Maybe he'll have something to say into the bus stop. Not this time, but he did close up big time in the slipstream. You can see now they're catching the train of cars in front, and this battle just keeps growing and growing up front.
And as you said, Everson, David was really able to close up a lot of room there through the bus stop chicane there on the back straightaway here at Daytona. And I think he's going to have a pretty decent opportunity. And now the decision comes, do you go to the inside or the outside if you're David? There's going to be a lot of pros or cons depending on which way you end up going, especially if these guys are still side by side when they get to the braking zone.
Well, here we go. Levine pulled out. He had to run, but he kind of hit a wall of air when he pulled out. Can he outbrake Shane Hunter into turn 1? No, he cannot. Shane Hunter holds on to 6th for now, but Dustin Berghalter falling into the clutches of this battle. Levine desperately trying to find a way around Shane Hunter.
We'll head into the International Horseshoe once more. Still maintaining a pretty consistent gap, and now the gap between the top 7 cars of the racetrack is 3 seconds. Oh, we have a spinner here coming through turns 2 and 3, and I believe that's Theo Brulsema.
Oh.
a returning member to the series following the season in the fall and the winter. Oh, very dangerous place to try to rejoin the racetrack, and it looks like drivers are going to have to split him going into the International Horseshoe.
That was a crazy rejoin to say the least, but looks like all is well. We will get one view of it. And hold on, there's actually an extracurricular activity going on back here. Rick Hazlitt as well having trouble. He was in the grass, but looks like we continue on, and we'll get a replay now of what happened to Theo Brolsema.
Have to wonder if he might have had a bit of a miscue going through those mini S's there, maybe got into the gravel a little bit, and that might have sent him around. Very dangerous spot on the racetrack, just because that's both the pit exit, and you can see that he's loose on the first of those two left-rights there, and it's going to be a little bit of damage, and then that's a really, really poor place to try to rejoin on the racetrack, just because it's a relative blind spot, whether you be the driver coming out of the pit exit or still on the racetrack.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a direct result of what happened before. There was a car off, and let's see what happened. Rick Hazlitt. Oh, there was more contact back here. Rick Hazlitt had some contact with who was that? I think that's Justin Jarrett. Yeah, we'll get a look at this.
So just goes to show that calamity can be a consistent thing here at Daytona, especially when the racing is so tight. Backtrack a little bit to see what caused the origin of this second incident. We'll get another look at Theo.
Yep, we'll get a look at Brolsema. This is a long incident. This is 2 or 3 parts to this incident. So Brolsema has his trouble there, goes round and tries to get out of the way, and then wants to rejoin the race, thinks the track is clear, tries to get back onto the track, and there's a car trying to take the racing line. That was Tim Bernard who hits the wall, and then Justin Jarrett, I think, got in there a little hard one more time. We'll take a look at it, and it'll be much quicker to the point.
Yeah, Emerson, it appeared those drivers were side by side going into the International Horseshoe, and maybe we're having a little bit of difficulty in dictating the real estate there. Oh, it was a bit of a late dive there from Jarrett, and it's going to take both drivers as a result. 5-10 seconds back, and with probably a little bit of damage as well.
Yeah, we'll see. Jarrett. Yeah. That one's rough. But we continue on up in front. New race leader, Brandon Egersick, to the race lead. Looks like Christopher Bailey has lost the lead. He's lost a lot of spots. He's now down to the 7th position. Not entirely sure what happened, or if we'll be able to get a replay of what happened. So sorry for that, but we'll continue on and hope that Chris can get back into it. It is a long race. There's a lot that can happen.
Yeah, he's currently only sitting 6 seconds back of race leader Brandon Edersick right now. So definitely not completely out of the running, but it's probably going to be a long way to go to get back in it. Just have to keep consistent, just keep hitting your marks and making the most of the slipstream when you get back up onto the oval portion of the racetrack.
Well, we'll see here. We'll go on board with Tyler Langenberg as he tries to close the gap to Brandon Egersick. Through the kink. Here they have to lift. These are very heavy, boxy sports cars that aren't going to get to the kink as light as a feather, and they do have to lift. And then the West Horseshoe is its own challenge, trying to get as much power as you can down and try not to spin the car out. There was Langenberg trying to get off of turn 5, and he'll do so cleanly. Now back up onto the oval through turn 6, and I think Egersick got a slightly better turn 6, but Langenberg will try to keep in touch with the slipstream.
And Langenberg is a driver here on Pit Stop TV that we've seen in the Pacific Challenge. He does a pretty consistent job there, and he's doing a pretty consistent job so far tonight. He's been relatively quiet so far on our end, despite the fact that he started in the 4th position, but he's, right up there in the running for the lead right now. And I think, doing a pretty solid job right now. We're going to backtrack a little bit to Paul Lindsay, who is currently in the 3rd spot, challenging Langenberg, and he might have an opportunity as we head into turn 1.
Yeah, I brought him up just because he went from the lead, and he almost fell back to 5th in just a couple corners. And I think Bailey had some trouble, which has now put Lindsay into third and has a chance to get into second here with a slipstream run on Langenberg, who's also getting a slipstream run on Egersick, and it's gotten very tight for the race lead.
We'll head down into turn one here, and as you said, these three drivers are under a blanket right now. They've really closed the gap to race leader Brendan Egersick, so it's just going to be a matter of hitting your marks, and it might be an opportunity for Tyler Langenberg to take... Oh, it's going to be a little bit sooner than that. We're side-by-side heading into the International Horseshoe. You do not want to be side-by-side heading into the kink. It's really not designed for that. It's going to be a place where if they do it, it's going to be difficult. They'll lose a lot of time. We'll have to see what happens here going through the kink.
Side-by-side, and it looks like Langenberg gives way to Egersick for now, but it has gotten very tight. Also introduced David Levine into the fray. The top four going at it for the race lead, and if these guys keep battling, Christopher Bailey will be back up here in no time.
Bailey still sits about 6.5 seconds behind, so staying really consistent right now. I think the difficulty for him right now is he isn't able to take advantage of any draft or slipstream right now when he's on the straightaways. Closest competitor in front of him is Shane Hunter. He's about 3 seconds ahead of Bailey, and it's another 2.5 seconds back to Travis Hill in the 7th spot right now. So a little bit lonesome on the racetrack right now for Christopher Bailey, but he's definitely not down and out quite yet, as the battle for the lead continues to keep on being very intense heading into the bus stop.
Hey, you gotta wonder, how aggressive will these guys be? If this was just a one-on-one car battle, I feel like the aggression wouldn't be as high because you're not under pressure to take that race lead away as soon as you can. But now that you have more competitors joining the mix, how aggressive are you for the race lead? Even though there's still an hour and 46 3/4 of a minute remaining in this race, plus whatever the final lap has in store. Side by side into the tri-oval we go. Langenberg, Egersick, side by side for the lead. Paul Lindsay wants to have a say around the outside. Will Langenberg outbreak Egersick? He does as he go wide through one. Not clear yet. Levine has trouble into turn one, and Langenberg gets cleared to the race lead. Here comes Paul Lindsay. Does he send it down the inside into the International Horseshoe? He looks to the outside, actually maybe trying to cross him over on corner exit. And we stay single file, but Langenberg out in front of Egersick now.
And when in a braking zone that has so many nuances, it was an incredible job to see those drivers manage it side by side for as long as they did. Excellent job. Well earned for Tyler Langenberg to actually clear the race lead here. Still relatively early, but he definitely earned it over these first 20 minutes. And now he does have a long way to go, have a pit cycle, and he's going to have a lot of chances to defend his race lead.
We're right on board with David Levine, who had his trouble into turn one, but has continued to stick with these front runners. And this is really the only battle on the racetrack. There is one more actually for the 12th position. Jason Leech going at it with Thomas Outzen. Actually, Leech has about a half-second advantage over Outzen as they come off of the West Horseshoe. But other than that, everybody else is... I mean, they're still close. It is, still early in the race with give or take a second or two away from one another. But really the battle, the action is up here for the top spot.
Yep, and I'm sure throughout the race we'll get to see a lot of battles. It's just the nature of this racetrack. It tends to provide for a lot of battles, both through the road course and the oval. And, I'm just incredibly excited that the best battle on the racetrack right now is the battle for the lead. And I'm sure that's going to tend to be the case for most of the evening here. Just because we have so many competitive guys and they're all in relatively similar pace, just based off of qualifying pace. A lot of guys within about a second of each other. So it's going to be a lot of fun here. Still have a long way to go as Langenberg continues to lead. And now it's going to be Lindsay looking to make the pounce on Egersick for the second position.
Here we go. Single file snaking through the infield once again. Now we ride in car with Paul Lindsay. Trying to get the power down. I'm sorry, go for it.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, definitely going through one of the more technical portions of the racetrack. This is a great onboard view. Get to see a great perspective of what the driver sees approaching braking zones. And it will also provide a pretty good opportunity when you're side by side to see what the driver is seeing is incredibly tight for the race lead. And as long as Egersick remains where he is, he's going to be in a really prime position to make a pounce, potentially going into the bus stop chicane.
Very, very tight amongst the top three, and Levine is not too far away continue on onto the oval once again. A little bit of a battle brewing now. Burkhalter under slight attack from Rodney Campbell, and that has now since changed. I think Burkhalter got a better exit out of one corner and has really gapped Campbell now. But we continue on up here with the 4-car battle for the race lead. Egersek slipstreaming, trying to send it to the inside into the bus stop. He will not send it, but he was definitely wanting to. He was pulling up, and that is a prime passing opportunity if you have a run, but he's got the run out of the bus stop. Slipstreaming up to the back end of the number 91, up to the middle of the oval we go.
It looked like he took it very conservatively on the braking zone on the entry of the bus stop there, and it's really going to pay off. He's going to be potentially in the lead. He might be the person to lead the lap, and now it's just going to be a matter of outbraking Langenberg heading into turn 1 here, and it's going to be a very difficult task. We're 2x2 as if we're pacing at over 140, 150 miles an hour.
A little bit of a wide entry into turn 1 under the braking for Egersek, but he did lead the lap. Lindsay now has something to say for second. They go side by side through VS's. Lindsay, can he clear? Egersek, almost contact there in the International Horseshoe, but he does. Second place back to Paul Lindsay. Langenberg driving away.
And that's going to provide an absolutely massive breather. I don't think it's going to necessarily give him a chance to break free from these second, third, and fourth position drivers, but it'll give him a second just to focus on hitting his marks for a little bit. And that could be so beneficial in a race this long.
Here in the in-car, David Levine, who's still on the tail end of this battle. Egersek now in front of him. Lindsay up to second. I think Langenberg had slight trouble in the 6th. It's gotten really tight up front. I guess that was my eyes deceiving me from the camera. He still has 6/10 of a second over Lindsay, though. Nothing to brag about, though, because that can quickly go away with some slipstream.
Yeah, and we saw just based off of earlier pace in the race that Lindsay, who claimed the pole position, definitely can do a very effective job of being consistent so far in the running. And as long as he executes through the bus stop, which it looks like he did a pretty solid job, it didn't look like the car was relatively upset in terms of balance. He might have an opportunity to be that driver who's challenging for the lead heading into turn 1.
Yep, full song. All these horses unleashed on to the oval. NASCAR 3 and 4 out of NASCAR 4 down the front straightaway. Lindsay, big run up to the 91 of Langenberg. Can he peek to the outside? Is he going to be able to outbrake him into 1? He peeks, but I don't know if he's going to send. He will not send. We continue on. And a little bit slow at the apex as Langenberg. Lindsay almost runs into the back of the 91. And now we're back to nose to tail once again.
And the song remains the same, nose to tail, as you said, Emerson. This for the time being, it's 4 cars deep of this. And, it looks like Langenberg got a little bit loose coming out of the International Horseshoe. Now, of course, it's a little bit tough to get side-by-side through the kink, but Lindsay might be in a position where he's able to outbrake Langenberg as we head into the West Horseshoe here, get onto the binders. He's going to look to the inside. He will be side-by-side at apex, and he might be able to execute your off-exit.
And with exactly 100 minutes remaining in the race, Paul Lindsay reclaims the race lead. As quickly as he lost it from 3rd to 4th, it took him, obviously, that time to work his way back through the traffic, but with the effort he put up to stay calm and consistent, he worked his way through Egersek and Langenberg and is back up in front. Levine has now lost a little bit of touch to the top 3, but we're not done up front. It's still side by side into the bus stop. Langenberg is not done with Lindsay.
And that's also a place on the racetrack where you really don't want to be side by side. You see the fact that Langenberg does have to concede, but he's still right on the tail of the 70 machine. It looks like he has a little bit of an issue coming out of the exit, and that might. No, he's actually get a pretty impressive run. It looks like, although he will have 3rd place, Egersek right behind him. So it's still going to be a fight between this podium 3 right now for the overall and class lead.
Yeah, what he did, I think he had a slightly compromised exit out of the bus stop and then got that run down the hill of the banking, but around the outside, he's right on board with Egersek. They're going to go side by side into turn 1 right in front of him. Who can outbrake who? Maybe Egersek wants to send it through the middle. Lindsay holds on. Langenberg actually gives space for Egersek to go the second.
Not the end of the world there for Langenberg. Just has to continue to be very consistent through the road course part of the racetrack. I keep saying something similar to that, but it's just, it is, so cyclical here, where you have to just hit your marks for 30 seconds on the road course, then take a little bit of a breather on the oval. If you're the trailing car, take advantage of the slipstream, close up a few tenths of a second, nail the high-speed bus stop chicane where you have to go left, right, a couple of times, and do it once more heading into turn 1. And yeah, just as long as Langenberg continues to do that, he'll remain in the slipstream. And the important thing is just doing that. If he wants to go out there and claim the win here in the opening round, we're riding on board with Christopher Bailey. He does make up a spot from the last time we checked in on him, and he's actually made up about 4 seconds since the last time we checked in on him. And he might have a little bit of that draft from those top 3 or 4 guys.
I was just about to say, we were not riding him out of the battle, but at least for quite a bit of time, because he was definitely going to need some help to get back into the toe of the top 4. But I think with how hard they've been battling, Christopher Bailey, he's also gained his spot up to 5th, as you said, and then has really made his way back into this lead battle. Christopher Bailey wants to lead this race. Also, Egersek has since taken the race lead, as I believe Paul Lindsay had an issue in the International Horseshoe, missed the apex a little bit, and Egersek went right to the inside, but up onto the banking we go, and Lindsay under attack from Langenberg. Let's see what happens off of NASCAR 4.
Yeah, it's not quite over yet, and we're getting to the point where if you're Tyler Langenberg, you're going to be able to make up the most ground, and that's once you get back onto the straight off of the exit of NASCAR 3 and 4, 11 and 12 on the road course. But it's not going to be quite enough without a very brave dive, and Paul Lindsay will continue to hang on to the second place position, sitting about half a second back from race leader, Brandon Edersick.
And with Christopher Bailey's mightyful charge back up to the top 4, it is once again a 5-car battle for the race lead, because the top 5 all within 2 seconds of one another. Actually, time and scoring shows him 2.8 seconds back. But nonetheless, it is still pretty tight nose to tail. And Shane Hunter is not too far back as well.
Yeah, Shane Hunter is also in a position where he's a bit lonely right now, but he's going to get a little bit of that draft, and he can see the leaders. That's the really important thing at this point in time. It's going to put him in a position where, as long as he keeps his position on the racetrack, he'll be in the running late in the race. You just have to continue to hit your marks. Do not spin. Do not go off the racetrack. That's a great way to lose 5 or 10 seconds, as we've seen in some of the earlier race incidents so far.
And one of the biggest things in racing is if you can see the leader, not only do you actually still have a real chance at getting to the race lead, but you feel you have that chance and you drive that little bit harder to stay with and try to keep that pace of the leaders. And so Shane Hunter is still in a advantageous spot where he can still not benefit maybe as much from the slipstream, but benefit, I guess, mentally maybe from seeing what's going on in front of him, because he knows if trouble happens in front of him, as Langenberg takes to the grass, he's going to have a slowdown penalty for cutting the exit of the bus stop chicane. And right here, this could be one of Shane Hunter's tickets back into this battle, or into this battle.
Yeah, Emerson, that's a really good point. It's based off of the pace of him getting back up to the speed. He's probably going to get, you have to say maybe a second ahead of Shane Hunter, and that's going to provide him a lot of opportunity on the straightaway to gain a lot of time. So that's going to work out really well, and it's establishing, for the time being, a 6-car dogfight for the lead, consisting of 5 pro drivers, and the lone open driver is Christopher Bailey. As we backtrack to Justin Burkhalter, that's another pro driver looking to overtake Travis Hill, which I think we've seen him a little bit. I don't think he was too consistent last season, though, when showing up. So we'll hope to see more of Travis Hill here this season.
A little bit of a wide arc through turn 1 for Travis Hill, but Burkhalter continues to pile on the pressure for 7th, and Rodney Campbell not too far behind as well, as this battle has brewed itself back into fruition. We continue on through the International Horseshoe we go. Burkhalter trying to see what he can do with Travis Hill into the kink.
It's a great example of just the idea that, there could be battles throughout the entire racetrack. always fun to have compelling battles throughout the entire field, especially when you have multiple classes. It creates a lot of opportunities to tell a lot of compelling stories, even if you're in the same machinery. And we get to tell the stories of pro drivers with pretty high caliber skills, open drivers, which is pretty, anyone that wants to take a knock at it. And then we have beneficiaries who benefit from the services provided by the Operation Motorsport Foundation. As we do see a driver come down on the pit road, and it's going to be one of those beneficiaries. It's going to be Justin Jarrett. Looks like he's a little bit bent up as well as he heads down onto the pit lane.
Yeah, we've seen Justin Jarrett in a couple incidents already, so just hoping he can continue on. This might be one of those times to use one of those fast repairs he got sitting in the pit lane and get right back into the action, probably taking fuel as well and possibly tires with that being said. But yeah, we've now gone through 31 minutes of racing action already, but we still have 1 hour and 33 minutes to go, 93 minutes left in the Operation eMotorsport Winter 2021 season opener. The battle for the lead has been electrifying, and Brandon Egersick is out in front. The battle now for third, Bailey on Levine. David Levine gets overtaken by Christopher Bailey, and what a march for the open driver of Christopher Bailey to go from the lead, have an issue, fall nearly 7-8 seconds behind that battle for the race lead, back to the 6th position, and drive your way back to now 2 seconds within the race lead, and up to 3rd place once again in only half an hour.
Absolutely courageous drive there by Christopher Bailey so far, and he is currently the only Porsche representative in his 718 within the top 5 right now, so doing a great service for the Porsche brand here in this opening round of the Operation eMotorsport Winter Series. With presenting partner for this season, Recaro, this is actually the 2nd season that they've returned. Great to see them come back on board. But yeah, he's right back up there in the position he needs to be, only a second and a half down or so from race leader Edgersek.
Yeah, this is getting really tight up in front. Now Bailey has Paul Lindsay in his grasp, in his I can't think of the other word, but anyway, Christopher Bailey continues to close on up front, and his next target is Paul Lindsay, because once he gets past Lindsay, it is just one other car in front of him for that race lead, and Paul Lindsay was actually the driver he first overtook for the race lead, so he's going to be doing this for a second time, as he overtook most of those drivers for a second time as well. But Christopher Bailey, after starting second, Paul Lindsay was the only thing keeping him from the pole position. He kept him from the lead at the start, led 2 laps, and then had his trouble. And now Paul Lindsay once again in the path of Christopher Bailey.
Yeah, Emerson, great job so far, and it's probably not going to be the last time we see a driver make this brilliant charge from a few seconds back up to the race lead. So yeah, great job so far, and yeah, we're again closing the gap between the podium. It seems that we continue to go through this phase of having the top 5 or so get, under a blanket, and then we knock it back down to about 2 or 3 cars under about a second or so of each other, and right now it's those top 3. We look a little bit farther back right now. It's going to be for the 7th position. It is yet again Travis Hill and Dustin Burkhalter, the likes of these guys, battling in, I would consider it the midfield here tonight. These guys are currently led by the Porsche of Travis Hill. So it's a battle of a couple of pro drivers, and then it'll be Rodney Campbell. He's actually an open driver. He's 2nd in class right now. Doesn't have a lot of competition in his class right now, but definitely a strong opportunity to have a good showing here against some guys not within his class right now.
Yeah, Burkhalter is always fun to watch. Again, making the leap from open to pro this season, and is taking it up with one of the pro drivers in Travis Hill right here for the 7th position, closing and trying to see what he can do. Down the back straightaway we go, and also Christopher Bailey has never mind, Bailey and I think Bailey got to 2nd and then had an issue in the bus stop because his gap did show that he was closer to the leader than Lindsay, but now Christopher Bailey back to 3rd, and I think that could have been what had happened to have him lose the lead as well. But now Christopher Bailey under attack from David Levine. They're going to go side by side past the start-finish line through the trial one into turn 1. And Bailey will still outbrake Levine into turn 1. Still holding on to third position, Christopher Bailey. But a little bit of a problem there off the bus stop. But Paul Lindsay, maybe they went double wide into the bus stop and they both had an issue because they are now 3 seconds behind Brandon Egersek.
Yeah, as you said, Emerson, that gap has grown to the point where we're the first time today the race leader will be able to take a breather on the straightaways. Not going to be an opportunity for the second, third, fourth place guys to get a lot of the slipstream that has been provided to those drivers so far in the evening. Go back to what is now the most compelling battle on the racetrack. It's the battle for the 7th position. Sure, it's about 16 seconds back from race leader Brandon Egersek, but it's still very tight between Travis Bill and Dustin Burkhalter, who did oh so well last season, doing a very strong job here tonight in the 8th position right now.
Yeah, Burkhalter trying to size up Travis Hill. Hill doing a great job defending, because I know Burkhalter is very hungry to get around Travis Hill. And, whoa, almost into the back of the 41. Burkhalter has to take an altered line through turn 6, and he's going to lose a lot of time on the exit. But Burkhalter was pressuring Hill so much, he basically pressured himself into a slight mistake there. I think he was just a little too close in the braking zone. And Travis Hill brakes maybe a little differently than Burkhalter does into turn 6. Turn 6 is tricky as well. It is a very flat, bumpy corner that can really make or break your lap. Turn 6 has a lot of pressure for you to make it perfect. And if you can get faster on corner entry into turn 6, the better. If you can hold it through the exit. And Burkhalter, I think, just trying to, in the heat of the battle, trying to get the best run he can through 6, and had a slight miscommunication there. But back onto the oval here, 3 and 4, NASCAR 3 and 4, and down the front straightaway, Burkhalter sizing up Travis Hill once again.
I think he's going to have to look to the outside there. I don't think he's going to want to try to make the overtake going below those double yellow lines. Just don't want to get down there below the banking. When you're on the tri-oval, he is going to have to maintain that position for the time being. But as you were saying, Emerson, about turn 6, it's bumpy as if you're racing at Sebring International Raceway. And I also feel like it's a slightly off camber as you drive through there. And sure, you do have that runoff, but as you said, you get back up onto the NASCAR oval when you get off there. So mistakes can be punished quite a bit. But fortunately there for Burkhalter, he was able to close up most of the ground that he did lose as we go back up to the 2nd position. Christopher Bailey did make his way past there, Paul Lindsay, and he's back up into the runner-up spot. So almost back up there to a brilliant spot.
Your car off track, that is 26th place runner Kurt Geidenkoch, one of the beneficiaries, having trouble there into the West Horseshoe. Actually, I was just making sure there was nobody else in trouble before we do this, but we're going to go ahead and get a little bit of a replay. Having trouble there up on the oval. It looks like he's not having the best of days today.
Yeah, for Geidenkoch, though, I believe this is his debut for the series. I don't think we've seen him yet. So the pro that you can take away from this, even if he's having some struggles here tonight, is that there is a lot of room to improve, especially on the iRacing.com service. It provides a lot of opportunity to have errors as a virtual driver here on the service. It's not going to be expensive if you make a mistake.
For sure.
And fortunately for him, with this incident, Emerson, he's just going to go off, no damage as a result this time. And he still has a lot of opportunity to get a lot of beneficial laps here at Daytona. A lot that you can learn at this racetrack.
Oh, for sure. The most you can get out of this race, the better. And drivers have different goals as it is. And I think for Kurt, it was just to show up and to run what he can. And he had some other trouble in the bus stop as well. But we will continue on with the action up front. And it is Brandon Egersek catching up to lap traffic of, I think this is, Rick Hazlitt in front of him. And, Christopher Bailey 2.8 seconds back, but on the charge to try to close up on Brandon Egersek.
And it's not the first driver who's going to go a lap down here at Daytona, but it's going to be one of the first times that we'll see on camera. And it's also going to be one of the first times that we're going to see it potentially shake up the battles up front. It's just going to be something that's going to become more and more of a factor as we get longer into the running here. And things become, a little bit more monotonous in terms of a mix between drivers that are very quick on the pace and drivers that don't have quite the pace of the leaders. It'll make it very interesting when we get late into the running.
Yeah, if this battle is still this lead battle is still as crazy as it was a few moments ago, the later into the race, it is going to be quite the spectacle. I was looking, Jason Leech has really been in it with Brian Winker, and actually, well, Leech had his issue at the beginning, but he has been consistently moving forward since. Let's see, he had started 13th, okay, and he's moved up to 11th, but Jason Leech has always been kind of surrounded by another car, but I don't know, the battles have been very quick where it wasn't really noted as much of a battle on timing and scoring. Jason Leech continuing his run into 11th and is one spot out of the top 10. This battle continues though. Burkhalter on Travis Hill. This is definitely a dogfight for 7th.
And this is really fun to see as they come to the line, because this is a place in the race where you can get a lot of practice in the oval in terms of how you want to strategize your run coming to the line, because it could be, as we see a very wide maneuver there by the Porsche driver, of course being Travis Hill, a newcomer to the series. But yeah, you can learn a lot coming to the oval, coming to the finish line, and this is a point in the race where if you experiment and fail coming to the oval, you won't be punished too much. Still side by side through the International Horseshoe, although we do come to the point of the track where one of the drivers has to give, and I think it's going to be Burkhalter this time around.
I mean, this is insane. This continues to be the most intense battle on the track. They are side by side. You solve it pretty much from the bus stop through the International Horseshoe. It is absolutely a dogfight. Both of these drivers want 7th, but only one driver can have it.
And this is a battle that I hope delivers for a long time to come here in the race, because it's been, with, barring the battle for the lead so far today, this has probably been the best battle on the racetrack so far. And it's been between two competitors for a pretty long time so far. And it seems like they have relatively similar pace, and they're also towing the 62 of Rodney Campbell as well, who very well could get into the mix as well. Still a 2.5 second gap of lead up front as we look at that plaid car looking lovely, that livery on the BMW of Rodney Campbell.
That's for sure. Paul Lindsay closing back up to Christopher Bailey to battle for second. 2.6 seconds behind Egersick. That gap has not closed drastically. It's closed a couple tenths, because last time we checked it was 2.8 seconds. So 2.6 seconds as they cross the start-finish line here at Daytona into turn 1. Lindsay just files still behind Christopher Bailey, and David Levine following suit as well. Here we go again.
So this time coming to the line, it is yet again going to be Travis Hill, doing an absolutely incredible job of defending. I think we are tending to see that the BMWs are doing a pretty strong strong job in a straight line, which tends to hold true conventionally. And he's doing an excellent job of that Porsche defending in the part of the racetrack where the Porsche may not be quite as strong most of the time. So we head into the International Horseshoe. It's going to be a little bit of a wide entry there from Hill, but it's going to pay off as he gets a pretty strong exit. Burkhalter still might be in a position, though, to be able to challenge for an overtaking to the West Horseshoe.
That's for sure. And with Rodney Campbell being here in the third car in this battle, 9th position, just kind of watching this battle unfold, I don't know if it's... Oh, Hill has a little bit of a slide trying to get to the apex of the West Horseshoe. But Campbell, I don't know if he hasn't had the run to get really into the middle of that battle, or maybe he just doesn't want to interfere. It looks like these two drivers really want to have at it for 7th.
At this point of the race, Emerson, as much as I enjoy, and I'm sure you and any of you at home enjoy seeing very tight battles, it's not the worst thing in the world as a driver to just take it easy at this point of the race. If you have the pace that these guys do, all you're doing in the position that he's in is conserving your equipment and conserving your chances at a good finish later in the race. So yeah, I think we'll see more of him probably later in the race, because he's been able to maintain their slipstream so far.
That's for sure. He hasn't lost touch with these two. He just has not been in the thick of it like Burkhalter and Hill have been going at it. And once again, Burkhalter, great exit out of the bus stop. What can Burkhalter do with Travis Hill through NASCAR 3 and 4?
Well, there's not quite contact between the two of them, but they are really tight right now. It does look like there's stock cars drafting around the oval here, as they will be side by side coming to the line. And if this were for the end of the race, it would be 7th place yet again going to Travis Hill. But we still have a long way to go. Still an hour and 19 left here at Daytona. And Travis Hill is going to continue to do a brilliant job of defending in some really, really difficult braking zones here.
That's for sure. Turn 1 is such a tough braking zone. I've been doing a lot of turn 1 braking in an LMP2, and I know that has nothing on these GT4 cars. These are completely different animals. But it is such a tricky braking zone to get right. But if you can, it is so satisfying to just nail that corner and then get the run off of turn 1 down to the international horseshoe.
And there's so many interpretations to the corner, which makes it oh so fun. So that was an absolutely brilliant attempt at an overtake by Dustin Burkhalter, but a little bit too much was given on the entry, and he had to compromise on the exit. And a great crossover back by Travis Hill. So absolutely brilliant racing by these drivers. And as I said a little bit ago, I hope these guys continue to deliver a heck of a show right now. As, you know, this despite the fact that it's not for the lead, still very compelling battles.
Well, let's see what's going on up front. And it is Christopher Bailey still holding station over Paul Lindsay. There it is. Over Paul Lindsay for second. They are now closing the gap on Egersick. It's down to 2.3 seconds. Last time it was 2.6. So the gap is closing. Not at a high rate, but still a lot of racing to go. We have 77 minutes and some change remaining in the race. And Egersick is now getting a nice tow from a lapped car here. Or actually just past the lapped vehicle, but still getting a nice tow. I think that is that Tim Bernard? That is Tim Bernard. That just went his second lap down.
Yeah, so currently there's 20 drivers still on the lead lap here. Still a long way to go. Have to wonder if those second and third place drivers are working in unison, utilizing their momentum to the fullest advantage to try to get back up to the race leader. Have to wonder if one of them gets a little bit of a run on the oval and perhaps let the other driver by. It could be a way to maximize the most of their momentum and maximize the most of the drafting.
You know, that is not a bad idea at all. And very, the flashers now from Christopher Bailey trying to get by Tim Bernard. And slides on corner entry, but Bailey makes it through clean. Does get off the exit. I should have waited for the exit before I said that. And now Paul Lindsay into the thick of it with the lapped vehicle, but clears Tim Bernard. Yeah, especially this at this point of the race. If this was 16 minutes remaining instead of 1 hour 16, it's a little bit different. But with an hour 16 minutes remaining, I could easily see these drivers trying to work with one another to slipstream up front. And even with 16 minutes, maybe if you feel you have a chance, maybe you still will work with the other competitor because there's still a bit of time to decide it. But now the gap, as we've been talking, has gone from 2.3 to 1.6 seconds. I don't know if Egersick is not up to the pace he's used to or is not up to the pace that he could fully run, or Bailey has just been absolutely on it. But through the lap traffic of all, he gained now up, it's 1.5 seconds, and he doesn't even have Egersick's slipstream yet.
Not to the fullest. And, you know, as we said a little bit earlier, this is a driver who is, 6-7 seconds back from the race leader. Of course, he did get up to about this point, about a second or so off the race leader. Had to drop a little bit when the second and third place drivers probably had offs in the bus stop or had issues in the bus stop, but he's right back in the running. And give it a couple minutes, and I think the podium 3 will yet again have a compelling battle. And David Levine as well, still sitting about 3 seconds back from race leader Brendan Edgersick right now. So 4 cars definitely in the running, and we still have a couple of guys that with the right circumstances could get back in it.
Well, how about David Levine, as you mentioned him? You know, we mentioned him being the tail of the battle the whole time, and him, I mean, having the pace to stick with them is one thing, and then just biding your time, kind of as we were talking about with Rodney Campbell, with Travis Hill and Burkhalter going at it. But David Levine has been at the tail of this lead battle for so long, but let's not forget, he started 9th and had to gain 5 positions to even be in this spot, and then has been kept with this lead battle ever since. So a great start for David Levine, as we're nearing the halfway point. In about 6 minutes or so, it'll be halfway through this race. But David Levine, through the first half of this race, has done a pretty nice job, and we'll see if he can make his way up front in the second half.
Yeah, David is doing a brilliant job. He might be a candidate for a Hard Charger award if that were to be awarded. He started in the 9th position, currently sitting in the 4th spot, and in a field like this, to make up 5 spots near the front of the field is very impressive. So I have to wonder if maybe he missed it a little bit qualifying, because he's definitely showing that he has really raw, consistent pace, at least, here in race pace, if you will. As he continues, very consistently to close that gap. He's under 3 seconds now, as we have an off, and it's Justin Jarrett again. Not a good spot, turn 6. Although it's not a blind spot of the racetrack for him to go off on.
That's for sure. And all the traffic can easily see him with having an issue down in turn 6. Let's see if we can get a replay of it. Yep, here we go. This is him coming through the kink, Justin Jarrett, and we'll get the whole story through the West Horseshoe and turn 6. See, all by himself. So this really is a single car incident. We'll see what happened. I think he just missed it. I don't quite know what else to say. Good on him for avoiding those tire barriers. And then
he was either checking his relative box, which shows you how close your closest 6 competitors on the racetrack are, or he just looked, outside of his windshield. He might have been able to see his competitor going. Very good awareness there by Jarrett, and he'll keep running, keep logging laps. That's the important thing, especially early in this season, is to just get experience so that you're at your best late in the going, and say you have something that you improved on over the course of the 8 weeks calendar.
Yeah, but now here we go. Bailey is there, less than a second. Slipstream from a lapped vehicle, 0.8 of a second, 0.7 of a second in closing on the oval. Down the back straightaway, 0.6 of a second, and Bailey is on the charge. Can he take the race lead away from Brandon Egersek? He's only led 2 laps today, but that does not represent the pace that Christopher Bailey has had today.
Not at all, and it looks like he closed up probably about half of his gap to race leader Brandon Egersek there. He's flashing the lights. Perhaps it's to try to distract the race leader. Perhaps it's to make the lap car aware of his presence. But right now, he's about 0.4 off. Not too many car lengths behind Brandon Egersek. And yet again, it's going to be a 2-car duel for the race lead. It's been a little bit, but it's back to a duel.
Woo, almost contact there with the lap vehicle, and Bailey is there. He peeks to the outside and is going to follow Egersek into the braking zone. Here we go. One-on-one, Egersek, Bailey for the race lead. A pro driver and an open driver going at it. Christopher Bailey trying to be the overall winner in round 1 as an open driver. We had fun calling Berghalter to a couple of overall wins last season if he was able to outrun Chris Walsh. And there's also a battle going on with Lindsay and Levine. I think Lindsay once again missed the International Horseshoe, and Levine has gone by for 3rd, but we keep our eyes on the battle for the race lead.
You wouldn't know it by how hard these guys are racing, but we still have half of the race to go here. And wow, that was an absolutely impressive exit there by Christopher Bailey. And all it takes is one good turn 6, and he might be side by side going into the bus stop chicane. Only still a few car lengths separate the two, but it's still, it's going to be really tight, I think, as we head into the bus stop.
Bailey is there, and quite frankly, I think he is better at this point. He has momentum on his side. He has the pure want to lead this race on his side, and then just chasing down the leader from 6.5 seconds back. What momentum, what a run it's been for Bailey to get up to this point once again.
Absolute great onboard shots to get to see both the suspension travel and how hard these drivers are working. And it looks like a lot of grass there for Christopher Bailey. It's not going to cause too much of an issue. Race control is not going to issue him a slowdown penalty either, so he keeps it within the confines of the racetrack, and he might be side by side. He's definitely probably going to have a chance as we head into the braking zone.
Here we go, slipstreaming. Does he pull out? Yes, he does. Battle for the lead. Bailey up high. Egersek down low. Into the braking zone. Bailey will outbrake Egersek, if maybe Egersek let him have it, knowing that Bailey chased him down. But new race leader, once again, Christopher Bailey. Did he lead at the line? I don't know if he led at the line. We'll see. We have 7 lead changes so far in this race, and that's plus or minus 1 if he, plus 1 possibly if he didn't lead at the start-finish line.
Yeah, Emerson, that's an average of what a lead change about once every 10 minutes. So very exciting throughout most of the running so far. And looking at timing and scoring, Christopher Bailey was given the nod there by 2 milliseconds over Brandon Edgersek. So he will yet again be the race leader as of this lap. But Edgersek is not giving up quite yet, still a few seconds down as we look here on the pit lane.
Yeah, Tyler Langenberg has made his way to the pit lane. I wonder if this isn't possibly short pitting. If these drivers can make it on one stop and he's just pitting now instead of pitting at halfway, or I don't know. We will see. But I was not expecting to stop 5 minutes before half. Or I'm sorry. Well, I guess this is the lap before halfway, because halfway is in about 35 seconds or so. But I don't know. I don't know what I was expecting for a strategy. Nonetheless, 124 minutes is quite the odd amount of time for a race.
Yeah, but it's creating a pretty compelling race so far, I would say. Definitely glad, I think, that this is the race where we got 2 hours as opposed to the standard 60-minute races that we're going to see most of the season. But just based off of historical trends, going back to our iRacing Remembrance, the virtual version at Sebring International Raceway back during the early winter, I think pit stops occurred every 90 minutes, which means these guys probably only had to pit once. So that could be the stop that he needed to get to the end of the race for Tyler Langenberg.
That's fair enough. And just checking, I guess before we get a slew of pit stops at this little point in the race, I do want to shout out some of the presenting sponsors today, and of course the Operation Motorsport sponsors. We mentioned Operation Motorsport at the beginning of the broadcast, of course, and what they are. But once again, it's a veteran-led non-profit foundation based in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Brighton, Ontario, Canada. It was founded on the basis of 3 simple words: excite, engage, and empower. Its mission is to engage through motorsport activities ill and injured service members and disabled veterans affected by military service, leading to aid in their recovery and rehabilitation. For more information, please visit operationmotorsport.org. Recaro, and it's whether it's on the track or on iRacing, Recaro Automotive is all about making driving safer, more comfortable, and more controlled. A driving experience that you can really feel. Recaro Automotive puts people first, every time. An ergonomic sitting position means a comfortable sitting position, and with a perfect seat, contours, and innovative features that support your body, Recaro Automotive makes driving fun, be it on the road or the racetrack. Recaro Automotive performance seats are more than just a set of components. They exude innovation, quality, and premium materials, craftsmanship, and a genuine passion for cars. Recaro Automotive is proud to support Operation Motorsport's iRacing. In Mobil 1 since day one, Advanced Synthetic Motor Oils have been part of every Corvette racing win. That tradition continues with the new mid-engine Corvette C8R. Today, Mobil 1 Racing 0W50 protects the next generation of America's sports cars on the track, while Mobil 1 Advanced Synthetic Oil is still found under the hood of every Corvette off track. No matter where the hood of your Corvette is located, it's always been Mobil 1 from day one. Mobil 1 is the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand, and the Corvette Racing C8R is now available in iRacing for anyone looking to experience the exhilarating mid-engine performance of the C8R in the virtual world. Of course, we couldn't do it on our end without our sponsors, and here at Pit Stop TV, of course, Sound Art of Tucson. Your picture, your music, and you provide the image that you want, and we will custom create a beautiful framed, high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info. Use promo code PitStopTV at checkout, and you'll receive 10% off of your purchase. Permanent Makeup in Maine, and when it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. At Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bullier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com, or you can call or text them at 207-358-8888. 8683. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine a call today to book a consultation. If you visit their Facebook page, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, you can enter one of their monthly giveaways. Enter today, and who knows, you might just win. And of course, Whiplash Media is Pit Stop TV's parent organization, which specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is also working on its presence in real racing, offering services such as photography, a little bit done by our lovely Trey Shuttlesworth, social media management, which tonight done by Corey Rexford, and public relations. I know social media management meant for the real world, but of course our social media posts to keep you updated with the virtual action as well on our Facebook page and our Twitter. But make sure you go to whiplash-media.com for more. And now we thanked everybody. We got to thank the drivers as well for the intense action that has been on the track. And I left it on this lead battle because it has just been so tight, even through the entire read-through of all of our presenting sponsors and Operation Motorsports presenting sponsors. It's still this tight up front, even though Christopher Bailey looks so fast coming up to Egersick. He's not been able to leg him just yet.
Yeah, Emerson, and thanks to the chat, we do have an update on the 86. The pronunciation of that driver is Egerchick. So we appreciate it. It'll help us out as we go forward in this 8-race season. But yeah, it's been very consistent so far. Haven't seen any overtaking right now, but still very compelling. These drivers are definitely testing each other. And then looking behind these two, it's the same story basically. So it's going to be a lot of fun here. And as we saw with Tyler Langenberg, probably expect some pit stops here within, at maximum, the next 30 minutes. It's probably about as far as they can go at max.
Yep, fair enough. And 62 minutes left here in the Operation Motorsport Winter 2021 iRacing season opener at Daytona. The battle for the lead continues. There's battles all around now. Paul Lindsay trying to hang on to third over from David Levine. The battle for 10th has gone really intense. We got 4 cars back here. We have Lingenberg, Brian Winker, Sean Knight, and Thomas Outzen all back here in a very tight battle for 10th.
Yeah, and what we're seeing here is quite interesting because it's a mix of drivers who have elected to come down into the pit lane and get fuels and potentially tires as well. The drivers that came down onto the pit road, Sean Knight and Tyler Langenberg. Now, Langenberg is the driver leading this pack of 4, while Knight is the driver third in line in this pack right now. And then the other two that you have to look at who are racing each other, Brian Winker and Thomas Outzen. Outzen's a driver who's involved in that, I believe it was a lap 1 incident, still doing a really solid job right here.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, we continue on. Outzen has had a nice little run back up to the field. Let's see how it's been. Of course, he started 10th, and he was as low as 22nd after that incident. So good on Outzen for keeping in it, keeping his heart in it, and making his way back up to the running order. He's now in the battle, and trouble there for Brian Winker through the grass, but looks like he'll continue on. I don't know if there was contact. I don't think there was contact, actually. I think that was more of a maybe sliding under braking. That back bumper looks clean, so that was more, I think, of a slide. Or if there was contact, very, very slight contact, and definitely not intentional by any means. If Sean Knight did get into him. But Sean Knight, Thomas Outzen, had that trouble with the lap 1 incident. I think that was Leech who got into Outzen. I'm sorry, Sean Knight had his own incident. I'm sorry, down in the turn 6 with Justin Jarrett re-entering the racetrack. So a couple of drivers with incidents, still faring pretty nicely in the battle for the final spot of the top 10.
Yeah, these guys are just case examples of, if you do have an incident, all you have to do is keep your head down, get back out there, continue to log consistent laps, focus on hitting your marks and not going off the track, and you might not get back out there and necessarily win the race, but you'll still get a good points effort as a result. say, for example, Sean Knight, he's in the open class at least. I believe he's second in the... Oh, no, he's third in the class right now. So he still has a chance to pick up the podium in the class here as long as he just executes here over the course of what is now the second half of the race.
As things have calmed down a little bit here, we continue on. Edgar Chick has now made 4 seconds on Christopher Bailey. So I hate to say it, I think he had another mistake that's going to put him in the hole once again to try to get back to that race lead. But Bailey has, I mean, he has it in him to get back up there. But man, that has really got to be just heartbreaking to continue having mistakes from the lead or nearing the lead that just put you back down and make you work a little bit harder to get back up there.
And the thing that's really going to hurt for him is that he got to the point where he earned the lead back from Edgerchick. So very simply, I guess it's time to do it once more. Still has a long way to go. 58 minutes is going to provide these guys probably, whatever, would you have to say, what, maybe about 30 laps here to the end?
Yeah, actually, that's exactly the prediction from Timing and Scoring is 30 laps, and we expect pit stops in the middle of those 30 laps, or well, at least in the middle of these final 58 minutes or so. We should see our around a pit stops, or I guess closer to 35 minutes or so, when the 90 minutes have elapsed on the clock, and we have that much time remaining. Levine on corner exit. Really on the pressure to get onto the accelerator cleanly, and now under attack from Paul Lindsay through the kink.
And of course, Lindsay's the driver who claimed the pole here in the opening round. So he definitely has shown that he has the pace, and it's been a very fun show from these guys. They haven't gotten quite screen time of the top two, but now that battle is subdued, I think all the focus is on them, and it's going to be really fun to see who can come away with an overall podium here. And it's, if I'd have to guess, just based off of how this race has been, it's probably going to be a battle between these guys for the last step on the podium, because it seems like Christopher Bailey and Brandon Edgerchick are just a slight step ahead of those two at the moment.
Sean Knight has re-overtaken Thomas Outzen here, and this battle continues for the 11th position. Langenberg has worked his way through a lapped vehicle, and Sean Knight and Outzen have really lost a lot of time. Now, when Langenberg made his pit stop, I wonder if he took tires, because he was in the box for 28 seconds. Is that enough time for a GT4 to change tires, or is that only the refuel time? Because he has just really driven away. He's legged it from Sean Knight and Thomas Outzen. Now I know these drivers are considered open drivers, and Langenberg's considered a pro driver, but he has absolutely dusted these guys.
Yeah, Emerson, that's a really good point that you bring up. Well, yeah, you have similar timing and scoring information available to you. Should be the same, actually. But it looks like Knight's pit stop was slightly shorter than Tyler Langenberg's. Now, I'm not familiar with how long a tire stop takes on these cars, but I have to wonder if perhaps Langenberg does have those tires to help him here, because it was a 10-second longer pit stop for him. So, yeah, he's definitely showing that he has really raw pace. The only thing is, by pitting early, is just the fact that he had to put a little bit more fuel in the car, and that's probably going to cost him a little bit of time as a result, that he might lose to these leaders who are staying out a bit longer. As we yet again see this battle, it's going to be Travis Hill, Dustin Burkholdt. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's newcomer to the series, Rodney Campbell, challenging for the 7th spot on the racetrack.
Yeah, Burkholder actually, I guess it was during the sponsors. He's now pulled 5 seconds on Travis Hill. So as hard of a battle as that was, Burkholder has now said, see you later to this battle. Travis Hill now under pressure from open driver Rodney Campbell. He has now gapped him on corner exit. And back here, Hunter Reeve, a driver we haven't talked much about this season. Hunter Reeve has also been, he was in the series last season, of course, one of the beneficiaries. Oh, well, a little bit of contact there with the lapped car of Tim Bernard, knocking out some cones there. That's interesting for Tim Bernard to be racing Hunter Reeve there into the kink.
in the least, both drivers made it through. But yeah, Hunter Reeve is a driver who actually claimed the beneficiary class championship last season, so he definitely has a lot to prove here, and he's currently the man leading the class. But it's going to be Langenberg coming down on pit road for the second time, so I have to wonder if perhaps there were issues with this vehicle that caused him to come down the pit road for the first time. What was it? Probably like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, Langenberg, he had came. He had came just before he had come out about 1 hour 9 minutes remaining in the race, about 15 minutes ago. He's come down again. I'm not sure. I don't think he's hit an incident limit. I highly doubt he did. So I have to assume there was some type of trouble on that car that caused him to pit again, like you said. I can't see anything that would cause a second pit, but that was surprising because Langenberg was really on it. He was in the 10th position and was on it. If he had fresh tires, he was really working them and gaining that time. And this battle continues with Hill and Campbell. Hill backed by Campbell through the apex of turn 1.
So yeah, they do build a little bit of a gap between each other, but we've seen, when we were watching these guys, it was about a lap or two ago, that Campbell does definitely have the pace to contend, so this should be a really fun battle to watch on the racetrack. Still a little bit of a separation, not much give or take between the two through the International Horseshoe, but it's going to be one more horseshoe that these guys have to tackle before getting back onto the oval.
Yep, through the West Horseshoe we go, and that is a hard apex to find. Is it an early apex? Is it a late apex? A late apex seems to work better. 3-corner exit, but it's a tricky corner down in that West Horseshoe. If you hit that late apex, you have to get a wide entry and then really straighten the car out pretty much before you even get to the center of the corner. And if you get that early apex, you're going to be off the throttle a lot, but it makes it a much simpler corner. It's tricky down in turn 5.
This might be a really weird comparison to make, Emerson, just because Circuit of the Americas is oh so different, turn 1 at Circuit of the Americas, but it's similar in the sense that you really can't spot the apex on turn in, which makes it incredibly difficult to, try to judge your entire corner. Of course, two entirely different beasts, but similar in that sense.
Yep, back up onto the oval we go, and back up front, Levine now piling on the pressure on Christopher Bailey. Bailey has not made his time on Egerchik, but Levine has closed up on Bailey. We've seen Levine kind of hold station in this lead battle, or the battle up front, and not really do too much with it. He got, from 9th to 3rd, or the trailing car in the battle, but he's now moved his way through Paul Lindsay, and now up to Christopher Bailey for 2nd.
Yeah, the really big thing here is that Lindsay drops off about, at the current moment, it's about 3 seconds off of David Levine. So as we've seen a lot, have to wonder if perhaps he had an off or had a bit of a mess up under braking or something. The common place where that's occurred so far today has been through the bus stop chicane. So, if I would have to guess, that'd probably be the place where it occurred. And really, for the first time today, the top 5 have a little bit of a gap between all of them. It gives them all a little bit of a chance to, I would say, take a breather. We haven't really seen much of it at all today.
Yeah, as pit stops are quickly becoming on the minds of these drivers for sure. In the next 15 minutes or so, we could easily see pit stops, the one pit stop you have to make. And these drivers doing the fuel calculations and everything they need to do to prepare for the stop, questioning if they're going to change tires or not, because when you pit, you're only going to have 35 minutes remaining. Now, our drivers are only going to pit, and if they pit, well, the tires they take, if they're all going to pit, but if they take tires under stop, they're going to lose what looks like about 10 seconds under stop, and are they going to make up that time and more with fresh tires? Or, I don't know, because GT4 cars are also just so different with their tires. Are you wearing tires that much where everybody has to take tires?
I'd say it's probably really tough to say, just because, you combine a car and a track and it's a unique beast each and every time. Just looking at timing and scoring, though, after an hour of racing action at a track that's 3.5 miles long, from most of the lead cars, we're only seeing fall off of about a second off of their best lap times here. at Daytona International Speedway. So I have to wonder if these guys might be thinking of double stinting their tires here. It wouldn't be full 2 stints either. And the track is continuing to cool off here as we get farther and farther into the evening. In-sim time is starting to approach what would be 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yep, Travis Hill. And there's been a lot of overcast on this track now. It has gotten really gray on the track, which is gonna cool the track temp off a little bit, and it's gonna be a little more grippier in those slicked corners. I guess as clouds move through because the sun's peeking through again. Continue on. This is Sean Knight. Thomas Outzen for 9th. Now as Hill has come in and pit, and it looks like he took tires, possibly, or took a full tank of fuel nonetheless. Had a 26-second stop. We'll see what his competitors and the people in his battle do.
Of course, it's going to be a lot of fun, and as we've said, it's going to be one of the unique things about our opening round at Daytona. Not only is it is the longest round of the season, it's going to be one of 2, if you will, endurance events here this season, with the concluding round at Sebring also being 2 hours. And we have another driver electing to come down onto the pit lane here.
Yeah, this is Brian Burkhart, who's a big driver in that midfield battle. We continue on with Sean Knight, trying to close the gap back down to Thomas Outzen, down the back straightaway. Paul Lindsay on Levine is shaping up once again. That going on for the 3rd position. Levine was just pressuring Bailey, and now Bailey has opened up time on Levine. We are missing key, small incidents. Because if there was maybe something, it's as simple as an off track that you can lose 4 seconds or so, but it's so hard to catch him on timing and scoring as well.
Yeah, that's the thing. Things happen so quickly at Daytona, and as you kind of hit on, Emerson, or well, you hit on really well, this is a racetrack where there's a lot of places where you can go off and lose a lot of time, whether it be through the bus stop chicane or large components of the infield portion of this road course layout. There's a lot of places where there's not pavement runoff. The only runoff you have is grass, and that's going to slow you down quite drastically if you go off the racetrack at all. All you have is a lot of that yellow colored curbing, which does provide a lot of support.
It does. It really helps these cars turn and keeps them in the track limits, but they can only do so much. If you're carrying too much speed into a corner, they can't help you with that. Yeah, once again, the battles for 3rd and the battle for the 9th position, they're about equidistant. Actually, this battle is tightened up here for 9th.
Yeah, this is probably our closest battle on the racetrack right now. And it's 2 guys that we've talked about a consistent amount here through the middle portions of the race, definitely making the presence known. Sean Knight is a driver that has come down onto the pit road, and that is the driver of the 65, just ahead of Thomas Outzen right now. But still 2 guys that are repping within the top 10 right now. Both drivers with that are also representing the BMW brand in the M4 machine, which just looking at our entries tonight, there's a lot of M4s in the field as opposed to the Porsches.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the deal is with Sean Knight, because it says he has a stop. I don't know if he started from the pit lane and accidentally took service when he started from the pit lane, but he has a stop, but his stint is as long as the other driver's stints. So I'm not entirely sure what went on with Sean Knight. I think he maybe just started from the pit lane and took service then. Now Lindsay all over the back end of David Levine. Onto the oval we go in turn number 1. Levine trying to gap.
And these guys have been putting on a very consistent show since, probably about a half an hour ago. They've probably been fighting for this 3rd place position on the racetrack. It'll be 3rd place on the overall podium, but if you're thinking of your points championship for these guys in the pro class, this will be for 2nd and 3rd respectively. So could be a lot of points that these guys could take away. And then if Brandon Edgerchick has any error that causes him to lose his lead, these guys could very well be battling for the maximum amount of points that they could be awarded here at Daytona tonight.
That's for sure. We near pit stops more and more. I wonder what the fuel consumption rates for these drivers have been. I don't think they're all going to come down on the same lap. I think drivers will be a little conservative, when they come down, especially with a 2-hour long race. However, we're getting closer to that 90-minute mark. When will we see pit stops? And I know we have 10 minutes still in that regard, but this is the point. I mean, we're seeing some, but very few. They've been kind of spaced out. Well, I say that, but a lot of our front runners, we still have about 11 drivers who have yet to pit, or 12 drivers who have yet to pit. When can we expect them? And do you think they all come in with one another, especially if you're preoccupied in a battle like this with Lindsay on Levine? Do you just follow Levine in?
Honestly, Emerson, it's really tough to say because the overcut or the undercut could really go both ways, especially at a racetrack like Daytona, because there's only so much you can do to predict what kind of traffic you'll come out into onto the racetrack, and that could either really benefit you if you find clean space on the racetrack, or it could really hurt you if you get behind a couple of cars that don't have the pace you do. We do have a car down onto the pit lane. It's going to be, I believe, oh no, it's Thomas Outston coming down onto the pit road. It's going to be not quite, top 5 front runner, but someone from the top 10 electing to come down to the pit road. And we'll have to see if he elects to put any tires on his M4 here as well.
We will see. Up on the Jack's car go, so he is taking tires. Back to the battle for third. Lindsay, a little bit of grass there. That's not uncommon, and you can take a little bit of grass there. iRacing's a little lenient with the track limits there, and it really is, how you say, I guess it's discretion.
Ooh, leaders in.
Oh yeah, the leaders are in. Yeah, there's Christopher Bailey and Brandon Egerchik. So Bailey followed Egerchik, and David Levine takes over the lead of this race. But I was gonna say that the track limits in the bus stop are a little lax. Here comes Bailey into his box, so we'll see. Bailey takes tires, and Egerchik does not. This is gonna be huge.
Yeah, this is going to be really big. It's going to cause a pretty massive shakeup on the racetrack. Of course, it was Egerchik that came in rather as the leader. So we'll be presented with a completely new dynamic and a new story to tell here. It's going to be a much larger gap for Egerchik, but we'll have to see if those tires are able to benefit there for who was our second place winner. We'll have to see where he comes back out. It's Christopher Bailey.
I know he took tires, and I know he lost a little bit of time. But in relation to Egerchik, I don't think he lost that much time.
Waiting for timing and scoring to update. That's when we'll get a little bit better of a picture. But there's still 40 minutes, Emerson. So, I think if he has the pace, he definitely has the time. Of course, catching up to a guy is one thing, passing is another. But as we've seen, Daytona is a track that does lend itself to overtaking opportunities.
Speaking of overtaking opportunities, what is the opportunity for Paul Lindsay into the bus stop? None yet. When do we expect these two to come in? I don't know how long they will stay on in relation to the leaders. They could come in this lap. It'll be interesting to see. Coming through NASCAR 3 and 4, Lindsay with the slipstream. This could be a race in the pit entry if they're pitting together.
And while these guys weren't leading, this could be this thing that ends up, telling the tale of the race, because there could be mistakes for our leaders here. But it's going to be coming down on the pit road. Paul Lindsay, David Levine will elect to stay out on the racetrack. So it'll be an undercut attempt here for Paul Lindsay.
David Levine out in front, getting laps led in his number 259 BMW. That was his first lap led, that time by the start-finish line. And lead changes. We've now had 9 of them, and we're not done yet. I know Levine still has yet to pit. Shane Hunter has now moved into the second position in his number 927 BMW. Dustin Burkhalter in third. Egerchik in fourth. Egerchik now, he's in contention here with he's having a contest with third place driver Dustin Burkhalter, which Burkhalter, we know how aggressive he's been with Travis Hill. And this is not an easy pass for Egerchik by any means. Meanwhile, Christopher Bailey's in somewhat clean air, just passing somebody on pit exit there. That's Paul Lindsay. He actually just beat out on pit exit. But Bailey's in slightly clean air. I know there's Rodney Campbell in between. And then there's Egerchik trying to find his way around Dustin Burkhalter, and this is not easy.
Not at all. And I guess you could say, if you're Dustin Burkhalter, you're not realistically racing Brandon Egerchik. But if you're able to do an effective job of, perhaps forcing a mistake of this guy, and perhaps he's, totals his car in an incident just through the force of pressure, why not try to, cause a bit of an issue? It's not as if you are a car going a lap down. And it's technically for a position on the racetrack. So I'd say no harm, no foul, as long as it's respectable.
Of course, this is a battle for position. Burkhalter isn't entitled to defend against Egerchik because in the long run, this could play out in Burkhalter's favor as well if he's able to hold up Egerchik to a point. But Egerchik does power by Burkhalter into the bus stop and now out. Burkhalter, though, with the slipstream, I think he's going to attempt to overtake once again. He stays in line, but Egerchik is pulling slightly on the oval. Now Burkhalter closes up. It's going to be tight off of NASCAR 4, but we'll see how aggressive Burkhalter is coming to the pit entry, because there he goes, and Egerchik continues on.
That's a great example of maximizing all the pace and all the speed you have, because he was, as you can see, making the most of that slipstream coming down onto the pit lane. And the race leader, David Levine, down onto the pit road. We'll have to see where he comes out on the racetrack, and we see another competitor as well. And that's going to mean that Brandon Egerchik, he inherits the lead here at Daytona in the waning minutes here. Still 38 minutes, though.
Yep, and now these drivers, they've made their final pit stops. The beds have been made. Now you lie in them. Christopher Bailey blinking a little bit, so timing scoring may take another extra second to sort itself out. But David Levine right behind Christopher Bailey now. So Bailey back into the second position with the undercut and the fresh tires. He is blinking big time. This is not looking good for Christopher Bailey's sake. David Levine having to deal with that as well. That's not helping David's sake. He's going to be under attack from Paul Lindsay if he has to continue to alter his line in favor of the blinking Christopher Bailey.
In the least, it has seemed to stabilize. But if you're Christopher Bailey, I think this has created, what he's done is create a very compelling story here to the end of the race. So he ended up taking tires, and I don't think most of his competitors did. It ended up costing him about 7 seconds more on the pit lane than the rest of his competitors, and he sits about 8.5 seconds down of race leader Brandon Egerchik. So if he's able to make the most of those fresher tires, perhaps he could get back up there and create a very interesting run to the end, and perhaps he's going to be able to tow the likes of David Levine and Paul Lindsay with him.
And it's the season opener. Why not gamble? You're an open driver in a pool of pro drivers, and you have 36 minutes left to make something work on these fresh tires. Why not go for it? We know Bailey already has the pace to chase down Egerchik. What says he can't chase down 8 seconds on fresh tires if he chased down 6 seconds on the same tires as Egerchik? Now, of course, Egerchik was in a battle, and right now Egerchik is not in a battle. So that does play a little bit of a factor here, but we know Bailey can chase down Egerchik. We've seen it more than once at this point. It's going to be now, how does Egerchik fare through lap traffic? 7.8 seconds the gap there, as we were just talking. It was over 8 seconds. So he's gaining a little bit. 7.5 working his way down to the kink. So this is doable. Does he have enough time? And is he going to be able to do it mistake-free?
It's a lot of questions, and it's a lot of factors that are going to be, it's going to make it hard to have, the true answer at this point. And I think that's the fun of this race so far, is that this race could still go so many ways. We could see, second through fourth here, get back up to the race leader just by working together, only 3 seconds between them. There could be a mistake from race leader Brandon Egerchik, although, I mean, from what we've seen so far today, he's been one of the cleanest and most consistent drivers. But there's so much that can happen here, and we still get to award race wins for 3 different classes, so there's still a lot to tell here.
That there is the battle for the 13th position. Jason Leech, Theo Brolsema with the run on the oval through NASCAR 3 and 4. He closes up to Leech, but does not take the overtake there. Oh, Leech blinks. Uh-oh, but back into the frame is Leech, and Brolsema, maybe this is why he's not attempting to overtake Leech into one, but he did. He had a huge run out of the bus stop.
In the least, he's showing that he has really strong pace right now. Of course, these guys aren't battling for class, but it's always fun to be able to race hard and practice racecraft against, you know, some of your competitors on similar pace. So we'll continue to track with these guys here. Jason Leech, as we said a little bit earlier, despite that early incident, having a very consistent run. I think he's a spot down from where he started today. He's currently running in the 13th position on the racetrack right now. And in fact, he started in the 13th position. So a pretty respective showing so far. So within his class, though, however, it is going to be, looks about 5th or 6th. So it's not going to be a maximizing of points, at least not at this point in time. But if there's mistakes for the likes of guys like Brian Winker or Sean Knight, the two drivers right ahead of him, he could pick up a couple of spots in the points and utilize that as we go forward into next week. And next week's going to be VIR, and that's an absolutely fun road circuit.
That's for sure. Actually, I think next week is Road America, unless I read it wrong. But nonetheless, Road America is fun in itself. VIR is another fun track. Two completely different tracks. I'm pretty sure it's Road America. But, of course, we can double check.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I think that's the one track I'm missing on the calendar I arranged of our race schedule here. So, yep, I think overall, though, the fun thing about this calendar is it's going to most of the best circuits in North America, both Canada and the United States. Yep,
that's for sure. And that is what, you know, those are the two nations that Operation Motorsports primarily deals with. And, of course, they're willing to help anyone who, you know, is suffering from or has just been discharged from the military in a certain way. But Operation Motorsport and what they do for veterans to help with their rehabilitation is a great thing. They do it both primarily for the United States and Canadian soldiers. Of course, they're based in Raleigh, North Carolina, and in Brighton, Ontario. And it makes sense to visit a lot of tracks in the United States and Canada, and gives that North American vibe even more for sports car racing and cars that we see in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge. That's a primarily North American sports car series, so it all fits so well.
Oh yeah, all around just an absolute excellent program here, and I'm glad we get to present it. You know, whether it be the mission of this foundation or the compelling battles on the racetrack, just a lot of awesome things that we get to tell here on Tuesday nights. So for the next couple months here in this winter version of the series.
Let's go back up front because Bailey has been on the charge. It's now 5.9 seconds, and Bailey is making those tires work, but he's got to keep it tidy if he's going to have anything for Egerchik. Now, 31.5 minutes remaining at Daytona. A lot of time left. 17 laps to go, according to timing and scoring, this time by the start-finish line. If that math checks out, and if, of course, the leader maintains pace, whoever the leader ends up being. But nonetheless, Bailey with the charge, and he has pulled David Levine and Philip Lindsay. Not pulled them up, he has pulled from them big time, and is gaining on Egerchik. These tires are making a huge difference in Christopher Bailey's race.
Yeah, on that last lap, looking at timing and scoring, it looks to be, oh geez, it was about 7/10 of a second that Christopher Bailey was actually able to close on Brandon Egerchik. And since these two have come back out from their pit cycle, he's closed up about 2 seconds, and that's in about a little less than 10 minutes. So currently we're shaping up for this to be very compelling. In probably the last 10 minutes is probably when these two are going to be dueling, I would have to say, at the current rate of closing.
That's for sure. Christopher Bailey in the Porsche. And let's ride a little bit on board and see just how hard he's able to attack this late into a race. 30 minutes left in the race and on fresh tires.
Oh yeah, and as we said, it's fun to see if fresh tires are able to pay dividends. That's the fun thing about being able to introduce a series where you have pit stops. It creates a lot of factors that a pure sprint race might not have. And in a lot of cases, it's what can make a racing series so fun, is adding a multitude of variables.
Yeah, I was not exactly sure what to expect with the switch with Operation eMotorsport going from the Miatas last season to the GT4s this season. I know we had a little, well, I say a little taste, quite a big taste. Yeah, quite a big taste of the GT4s at Sebring with the 6 hour, but not entirely sure how it's gonna look for an entire race season. And at Daytona, it's proven to be a great show, but this I don't know if this is more car or track, but nonetheless a great show. And all we can do is sit back and enjoy it with these GT4 cars and everything that this series has brought for us on Pit Stop TV is today especially. But this whole series, great racing all around, and hopefully it continues through the rest of the schedule because it has been a fun show.
Yeah, Emerson, as you said, the Miata is an absolutely brilliant car. It doesn't have anywhere near the horsepower of these cars. In fact, this season, moving up into GT4 machinery, we doubled the horsepower, but the fun still seems, just about the same. We still have cars that are very mechanically grippy and require a lot out of the driver. It's driving what you might call a slow car, at least in terms of race cars, when you compare these things, up against, prototype race cars. A bit slow. It's driving slow cars fast, and that can be oh so fun and oh so rewarding if you're a driver.
Yeah, I mean, Daytona, I think Daytona's fun no matter what you're driving, no matter what layout you're driving, just because how much there is to Daytona, and the road course just flows so well, and of course the oval, it's going to tend to be pack racing, so, I mean, no matter what you do when you come to Daytona, you're almost always in for a good time, and it's been a great time. That's really all I can say. It has been a great race, and with a great series that Operation eMotorsport has here. Daytona, I think, was a great selection to the schedule. Wasn't also too sure with the race length of 124 minutes, but it's proved pretty well so far.
Yeah, it's a really fun racetrack to have a longer race like this, just because the slipstream is able to keep guys so close for so long. At this point in time, it's a bit spread out. That's bound to happen in a race this long, but there's still the opportunity for a lot of slipstream battles, and that's something you don't get at conventional road courses that these guys will visit over the course of the rest of the season. So it creates a really unique element. It combines a little bit of what you might enjoy in stock car racing at Daytona International Speedway with some of the, the very fun wheel-to-wheel racing that you'll see as you go into the heavy braking zones in the road course portion of the racetrack.
Yeah, Egerchik now, he's catching lap traffic, is under hot pursuit from Christopher Bailey, and the gap has closed. It was over 5 seconds, now it's under. It was 4.8 across the start-finish line, up to 4.9. This could be just through the braking zone and the acceleration, the difference that Egerchik and Bailey has. But yep, back to 4.8. Bailey is on it, and with the prime opportunity of lap traffic becoming a factor, and a little bit less of a factor, but still a factor that all these drivers are going to have to encounter, is the sun setting. And it's really going to be, depending on what your graphics settings are. Of course, I don't know if everybody's computer can run ultra graphics, as a lot of people can, but I know when you have ultra graphics and the sun setting in your face, it is rough. It is absolutely, it's not a fun time with the sun in your face.
Yeah, and that's an element on the iRacing.com platform that was introduced relatively recently. Time changing dynamically, as you're seeing right now, as we're seeing, we're starting to get those late afternoon shadows here at Daytona International Speedway, something we've seen over the last year or two. And the graphic elements that introduce that glaring sun are relatively new. And from experience, Emerson, it's fairly realistic, and I'm glad that that's a component that it adds a lot to sports car racing, endurance racing, where the day to night transition is one of the rewarding factors of taking parts in these kinds of races.
I just realized the lap cars that Egerchik is catching is this great battle that's been going on between Jason Leech and Theo Brolsema. So this battle does not want to get broken up. I know Leech and Brolsema are both very courteous drivers that'll most likely give way to Egerchik as he approaches them, but this has been an insane battle that the leader's about to encounter, and this will be interesting to see how he works through it. He gets through Brolsma pretty easily. I think Brolsma gives him the lane, of course. He is the leader, and they are getting lapped. But we'll see what happens with Jason Leech here. And Egerchek, the gap that he has over Christopher Bailey has stagnated slightly. It's still a gaining gap, but I think the advantage of completely fresh tires. And Brolsma's gone round. I think he just got a little too accelerator happy on corner exit of turn 3. Possibly caught the curbing as well. And Jason Leech is going to go wide and give the preferred line to Egerchek through the West Horseshoe. Egerchek's made his way through the lap traffic and has a 4.4 second advantage over a hard-charging Christopher Bailey.
Yeah, these guys are continuing to draw a lot of suspense. Good job of maneuvering through lap traffic. And just to update on Theo Brosmel, at least for the points picture, he's not going to drop any positions with that spin. His nearest competitor, Brock Hogan, is a fair margin behind him. And then ahead of him, the current beneficiary class leader is Hunter Reeve. So no harm, no foul. Just has to continue log laps. There you see Hunter Reeve in that Porsche 718 doing a very effective job right now. He's been, I think, as high as, 8th or 7th maybe. So he's pretty much, in about the same spot he's been for most of the evening so far. And just a really strong drive so far. And I think he's showing that he's a key contender here for the beneficiary class championship.
Yeah, Hunter Reeve, we talked a lot about him last season, being up in the thick of the battle for the beneficiary title hunt. And here he is. I mean, he is the beneficiary leader, but he's sticking to it to a pro driver right here of Travis Hill. This is great stuff as they come through the West Horseshoe into turn 6 now to battle for 7th. Travis Hill, the pro driver, who's been under attack all day long from Burkhalter and Campbell and now Hunter Reeve. Man, Travis Hill cannot catch a break.
Not at all. And in the least, though, from this driver, we've seen very solid racecraft from him, especially in his earlier battles with Dustin Burkhalter right now. But yeah, he is, starting to slowly slip down the leaderboard a little bit. And in the least, if he loses this position, it won't be 4 points. His nearest competitor, Tyler Langenberg, sits about 12 seconds back from him right now. But still, you want to make the most of the track position on the racetrack.
Of course, and you can see a bit of the sun right there. Look at it beaming down on this Daytona International Speedway. It's really tinted the entire track.
Oh yeah, and in sim, we're past what would be 4:30 in the afternoon. And I'd have to assume it's probably on a simulated date in January. In fact, the in-sim date is January 19th. So sunset realistically within the iRacing.com simulator probably set to come in about an hour or two. So we won't quite get there within the running of this race, but it's just going to continue to create problems for these guys on portions of the racetrack. Because as we said, it is purely blinding light.
Now you see it. It's going to be, I think, we'll ride on board here with Hunter Reeve. We'll see where it's really a factor. But right there, coming off of the International Horseshoe, and it'll get worse as we round out these final 20 minutes. But right there, from the International Horseshoe to the Kink, one of the vital portions on the track, because the Kink is so hit or miss. If you hit it, it's great. If you miss it, you're in the grass on your way to the West Horseshoe offline. And with the sun being in your sight right there, causing a huge distraction, that can really that can have an impact on someone's race.
Yep, if you're prone to any semblance of distraction, definitely want to try to avoid it as best as you can, but there's only so much you can do. The entire evening, it's been a, back and forth between David Levine and Paul Lindsay, and they're continuing to keep this battle going. So they have dropped about 10 seconds off of our race leader, Brandon Egerchik, but now they have to get through some lap traffic, and this could really shake things up.
Lindsay on the aggressive, trying to get to the inside of Levine, but Levine, of course, working through lap traffic as well. Very defensive line into the International Horseshoe, kind of serving a double purpose there. Get around the lap car and defend your third place. But now here we go. Lindsay into the Kink. Does he have anything for Levine into the West Horseshoe? By the way, an update up front. Bailey has chased down Egerchik down to 3.1 seconds, and that gap continues to close. We'll get to that when it gets closer, and that it'll take precedence over this battle if this battle doesn't sort itself out. But Lindsay on Levine, like you said, this has been a thing all day. Levine and Lindsay have been a factor in the front all day, and it's just fitting for this battle to go all the way through the pit stops. And now with the final 20 minutes upon us here, into the final 20 minutes now, we'll see which one of these drivers will win out in this battle.
If I'd have to guess, they probably will swap the position at least a couple more times to the end. So it's probably, if I'd have to guess, going to end up becoming as we actually see Levine have to, compromise his bus stop chicane. Can't elect to go through it, and he's going to lose several seconds as a result from that. So that's really going to shake things up. And now David Levine has to get into a position where he's able to maintain the slipstream of Paul Lindsay, or it could be game over for his podium run.
Yeah, David Levine is also having to serve a slowdown. And he's slowing on the track as he comes into pit lane. No, he just really had to serve that slowdown. And he's still serving on the front straight. That is huge, that battle. That's a near 3-second slowdown. I know he went through and he came to a stop, or slightly came to a stop or something. He gave him a lot of that time. It would have been about 5 or 6 seconds if he didn't. But still, a 3-second slowdown, and it's gonna have much more than a 3-second effect on the battle between Lindsay and Levine.
Yeah, very unfortunate. And like you said, Emerson, he basically came to a complete stop. And then as the iRacing race control system gave him that slowdown, he probably got right around to the threshold where iRacing would have cleared it. But then he probably started to gain too much momentum, and he probably started to get time added onto his slowdown. So he probably had to, come to that very slow stop as you saw there. So that might very well wrap up the battle for third place. It'll be second place overall, or not overall, rather in the pro class for Paul Lindsay, third place for David Levine for the time being. And we get back here to this battle for 8th place. These guys will not give up. Hunter Reed, yet again, on Travis Hill for the 8th spot.
Reed took out a few cones down into turn number 1, but I think it's great with Hunter Reed being a beneficiary, really sticking it to the pro driver of Travis Hill. It speaks volumes to what these beneficiaries can do with time and with the right car in the right situation and everything. Hunter Reed, been able to excel today at Daytona.
Very excited to see it, and he's coming off of an incredibly impressive season within the beneficiary class for last season, cruising to 7 class wins out of 8 rounds last season. So he's yet again proving to be a step above the rest, at least in round 1. His nearest competitor is Theo Brulsema. He sits 14th place on the racetrack. So some of these guys will have some ground to make up to challenge him. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch over the next 7 rounds.
Also, of course, just want to look at the other beneficiaries in the field. We have Brock Hogan down in the 18th position over Callum Beldam in 19th. Justin Jarrett riding in 20th position. He's 2 laps down. Hogan and Beldam 1 lap down. Tim Bernard 3 laps down. I think he got into it. With Christopher Bailey into the kink. That was quite a run there. But this is John Winker. He's 7 laps down right in front in that Resilience Racing number 7 in contact. They'll keep it going. Man, John Winker already 7 laps down. This is not going to help his mood today. And also Kurt Guydencock, he's coming down to the pit lane. He's 12 laps down, and he's just trying to get through this day as well.
The important things for these guys that didn't have the best opening round is to keep your head up and just get a lot of practice going into the next round next week, because you're going to be presented with a completely new beast in Road America next week. That's in a lot of ways entirely different from what we're at. It's also a very high-speed circuit, but there's a lot more very slow 90-degree left and right hand or heavy braking corners. A lot of opportunities to overtake though at that racetrack. So we'll head to virtual Elkhart Lake, and it'll be a completely new challenge next week.
How much do you think Brandon Ergerchik is looking at his relative right now, watching Christopher Bailey close this gap? This has been a great run for Bailey to chase down the leader yet again.
As much as you don't want to be the driver looking out of your mirror, there does become a point in time where if you're Brendan Egerchek, you have to realize that he's going to, be on you, and he's going to be challenging you for that race lead before the race end is over, at least at the current pace. So either Egerchek has to find a little bit of pace that perhaps he's been saving, or perhaps find a little bit of pace that he wasn't able to find earlier in the runnings, or he's going to have to face the fact that it's going to come down to a pure battle of racecraft, which, as we continue to progress here with only 15 minutes left, I think we're shaping up here for a pure battle of racecraft.
This is really... Bailey's been... I mean, when I say taking his time, he's not willingly, trying to catch the leader at a pace that's not his fastest. He's going as hard as he can. But when we said he had 36 minutes to chase down Egerchik, it's taken him 20 minutes to get to this point. And of course, chasing someone down and passing someone are two completely different things. But at what point is Bailey going to be close enough to where he can start thinking about overtaking? And how long till he gets to that point? Is there going to be enough time for him to get there and overtake? I know that sounds silly with 14 minutes remaining, but it is so hard to close up here without slipstream. And Bailey, I know he's been, I guess, a rare circumstance of a driver just driving up even without slipstream. But at this point, he's kind of hit a little bit of a wall here. This lap has stayed stagnant at 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, they were about similar on the last time coming across the timing line, and as you said, it's getting a little bit stagnant. So, as soon as I said perhaps Egerchik has to find a little bit of something up his sleeve, perhaps he did that, or perhaps Bailey is starting to feel the negative effects of his fresh tires wearing off, and perhaps his tires are starting to level out. There's so many factors that could be causing this bit of an evening out between the top two. So we'll just have to watch this battle as it continues to progress here. As the minutes and seconds continue to wind down, it's going to be Egerchik getting past another lap car here.
Yeah, Brendan Egerchik, what a run it's been for him as well. I know we talk a lot about Christopher Bailey being the open driver and sticking it to these pro guys in the pool of pro drivers, really going at it with these pro guys, but Egerchik has also led 41 laps himself. We're on the 58th lap of competition right now, and he's led 41 of them. So Egerchik has really put his car in the right place a lot of today's race, and it's shown. Can he hold off a hard-charging Christopher Bailey? Now, we say that gap stayed stagnant last lap. It's already down to 2.2 seconds this lap. And, I don't know what the consistency of Christopher Bailey's run is to Egerchik, but I guess it doesn't matter. As long as he gets there is what matters most.
Yeah, I think so. Although the other thing is, I think the sooner you get there, the more opportunities you'll have to try to create an overtaking opportunity. And it might give them a chance to also get some practice for a drag race duel to the finish line, which can be oh so common here at the road course here at Daytona.
What's probably going to end up in one of those duels is this battle with Travis. So pretty much anybody Travis Hill battles is going to probably be a drag race to the line, because it has been crazy around where he's sat all day. Travis Hill's been in that little pocket, about 5th to 10th, kind of up and down through that pocket, and in the 8th position out, under attack from Hunter Reeve, as he's been for quite a few laps now. The only other battle on track going on for the 15th position between Thomas Outson and Theo Brolsema.
I believe this is one of the newer battles that we're seeing here, and it might be due to the fact that Brolsema had that little bit of an off a little bit earlier in the running. But still, it's going to be a very compelling fight to see who's able to come out with what will be a top 15 finish, barring any other incidents for drivers ahead of them.
Right on board with Brolsema. Oh, someone's going to go around.
Outson, perhaps?
No, I think that's Sean Winker. That was Sean Winker. Oh, man.
I think that's one of the first times we've seen someone spin coming out of the bus stop today, and that's a really unfortunate place just because that concrete lays on the outside on the exit of that corner.
Yeah, it is a tricky corner because you're rewarded for going as hard as you can. You're rewarded for going as hard as you can any corner. Oh, Brolsema going wide in one. Way wide in one, but he's going to keep in this battle with Outson. But you're rewarded for absolutely finding the limit of the bus stop, because you get onto the oval, which is a big part of your lap. It's pretty much half of your lap that you're setting up there if you can get to the bus stop and you can nail it. So you're rewarded for getting through there. as fast as you can, and sometimes you get there a little too fast. The back end of the car, especially in these later stages of the race, the back end of the car is light because there's less fuel in it. That can end up happening.
Yeah, Emerson, that's a really good point. Not just the fuel load as you mentioned, but the fact that these tires at this point, for some of these guys, they've been on the same set of tires for about 2 hours now, so these tires could be near the end of their limit. So yeah, there's just so many factors that could cause you to spin out of what is, I believe, the fastest corner section of the circuit, barring perhaps the kink, I would have to say.
Yeah, this track, it can be scary in a whole lot of ways. There is, of course, the bus stop and the kink, as you said, and then the slick horseshoes and the heavy braking zones of 1, and getting into the bus stop in turn 6. It's the different factors that can all come about at a track like the Daytona road course, and that's what makes it such a great venue. And why the iRacing, the iRacing 24. Well, the iRacing 24 is the disappointment weekend, but the 24 Hours of Daytona is such a huge event and the most prominent sports car event in the United States, and one of the biggest ones in the world. Of course, probably would be beat out by the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and would rival, I guess, Spa, but nonetheless, this track, it provides such a great challenge, even though, and a lot of high speed. And for the American side of it, a lot of NASCAR fans can get into it because they know Daytona, the oval part at least, and a lot of NASCAR drivers will participate in the 24. And this track, it just brings a whole lot of motorsport disciplines together.
Yeah, Emerson, that's the awesome thing about this facility. Like you said, it's just an awesome place for multiple disciplines of racing. And you're seeing the road course play host to sports cars right now. And as you said, the Daytona 24 is an absolutely awesome event that we see here at the racetrack. And then this is also basically one of the capitals of stock car racing. It hosts the Daytona 500. There's also a flat track outside of the racetrack. So there's a lot you can do in Daytona Beach, Florida, if you're interested in speed, without a doubt.
Well, speaking of speed, Christopher Bailey, he's got to find some. He stalled out at 2.6 seconds.
Yeah, that's actually grown slightly, I believe, since the last time we've checked in on the top 2. So the chances are starting to grow thin of this battle between the top 2. Still, a lot could happen over the course of 7 minutes. Here at Daytona, that's going to equate to about 3.5 laps. So it's going to be close as to whether or not we get, I'd have to say, 4 or 5 laps here at Daytona coming to the end.
For sure, 2.5 seconds. It continues to stay around, and the lap times, the lap times have fallen Egerchik's way the last few laps here, and Bailey's really had to get on it. He's now encountering lap traffic as well. At this point, the lap traffic can help you because you're catching it on the oval and you can get some slipstream, but it still becomes a factor, and you have to alter your line a little bit, obviously, to get around the lap traffic.
This is one of those places where, how the cars are dealt to you can play a very big factor in terms of how your race is able to go. Like you said, Emerson, that was a good example of Bailey getting to the lap car at a point of the racetrack where it was right at the braking zone, probably the most convenient place on the racetrack for him to be able to overtake someone. But then if you get to a poor part of the road course where it's difficult to overtake, you could be stuck behind a lap car that's not too much slower than you for well over, 30, 45 seconds before you get back onto an oval part of the racetrack.
Yeah, especially if you want to be patient with the lap traffic through the infield, that can really hurt your momentum. I mean, I know at one point you got to go, but of course they are other cars on the track. You can't just run them off the track. And I'm not saying these drivers do. I think they do a great job at giving each other space. It's been a very clean race for that. Oh, Christopher Bailey's gone off track there in 2. And this is... The win seems to be slipping. The overall win seems to be slipping further and further away from Christopher Bailey, but still leads the open category by well over a minute.
Yeah, he may lose out on those bragging rights, but yeah, the important thing, if Christopher Bailey is thinking, coming into this season, oh, I really want to go out there and grab that Open Championship, prove something in the point standings. He's definitely doing his job today. His nearest competitor, Rodney Campbell, stands, about exactly a minute behind him right now. So if you're looking at the class battles, he's done a very, very incredible job here today. And to come up short 4.5 seconds with 5 minutes left, he's done a very good job so far. And still a few minutes to go here. Race isn't over quite yet. But if you were to call the race right here, very good job, Christopher Bailey. Same thing to Rodney Campbell, who I believe is a newcomer to the series here in the winter season here of the Operation Motorsport.
Yeah, Rodney Campbell did a great job today of, putting himself in the right position to be in this top 10 battle overall and second in open class. He's not really put himself in trouble, and he was in great battle. Well, he was right behind the great battle between Burkhalter and Travis Hill. He's now since ahead of Travis Hill. But Campbell just did the right thing today and just kept his car clean and kept himself in the right spot.
Yeah, this is going to be a big wave of momentum going forward here. It's of course a very condensed calendar, so anything you could take from round one can very well transfer all the way to the end of the season in terms of momentum. So excellent job right there from a rookie here to the league. And now we're seeing, I'm not sure what battle we're looking at right now. We are on board with Thomas Allison, so this is a little bit outside of the top 10 right now.
Yeah, this is the battle for the 15th position. Again, Allison and Brolsema continue to go at it. The lap vehicle there works their way past. But Allison under attack from Brolsema once again, and this is going to be another battle to keep our eyes on as we head into the final couple of minutes of the race. 3 minutes and some change remaining, and Allison under a heavy attack from Brolsema. Brolsema, what a great run through the bus stop. Here comes Brolsema right up to the back end of Allison and all over. He gives a little push as he head through off of NASCAR 4. Here comes Brolsema. He's going to peek to the outside. No, he's staying in line.
Bumper to bumper locking, it's going to provide a little bit of an advantage for the both of them heading into the entry of turn one. It looks like Brolsema is going to concede for the time being. Perhaps he just didn't want to make a very brave move onto the entry of turn one. He's going to back it up, and nearly barriers there for the 23 of Allison going through turn one.
And I'm thinking about it, maybe because he knows that his position in class isn't going to change. He doesn't want to do anything risky. But I figured if he was going to get around Allison for the overall position of 15th, that was a great run out of the bus stop there. I don't know if you can replicate that in the final 2.5 minutes.
It's all going to depend on when iRacing Race Control waves that white flag for these drivers. That's going to dictate. At this point, it's probably going to be whether or not we get, 1 or 2 laps at this point.
Right here, it depends where Egerchik crosses the line. He'll cross it with a minute 57, and they're running a minute, that last lap here in a minute 55, basically. We're in a high 154. And, he also has a gap where he could let off to not run another lap. I don't know if he would do that. I'm sure pro drivers just want to run as many laps as they can. But we will see coming around off of NASCAR 4. And if he just has maybe even not the best lap, he could also just come to the line and the timer could run out right before he gets there.
Yeah, as you said, Emerson, we're right on the cusp here. So this could be it here for Egerchik. Regardless, though, coming up to this point, coming to what could be the white flag, this is a guy who definitely deserves the victory after a race like this. I really don't recall any massive mistakes from the driver. I don't think we've really captured any incidents with other drivers. I don't remember really any particular, major off-track incidents. Unlike some of his competitors, like Christopher Bailey. Bailey showed to be someone that has, maybe perhaps the best, hot lap pace in the field, at least, in race conditions. But he had a couple of mistakes, and that put him behind the 8 ball. And that's why he sits about 3.5 seconds behind. It's going to be enough for his class win, just not quite the bragging rights tonight at this point.
Well, we're kind of in the stage right here where he's coming into the bus stop with 33 seconds left. I think he's going to make it to the line in time, but again, I don't know. These are GT4 cars, and they don't have nearly the acceleration of other cars I've driven. And with 20 seconds left, I feel like now he's definitely going to get to the line on time, but still, he's going to have slipstream from Sean Knight and to the line. Does he get another lap? 5, 4, 3. He will barely get another lap, and now we're on the final lap of this race with Brandon Egerchik. That was close. I wasn't sure if we were gonna have to call him to the finish or call him to the win that lap, but with one more lap now, still anything can happen.
Of course, in the least, he's built that gap up to 4 seconds. So say he gets an off track, that might be enough to salvage things for him. We're gonna backtrack a little bit here. Right now, it's Jason Leech trying to hold off Brian Winker there for the 12th spot on the racetrack.
Yeah, this is a big pack of lapped vehicles with Winker and Leech going at it for their 12th position right here. And this is a battle in the open class as well. And oh, contact! There's lap car shooting across the track. Oh, there's a car coming back up onto the other side. Not sure who else was over there, but wow. Oh, that was David Levine. 4th place driver,
Wow,
David Levine.
Absolute massive incident there. And it's remarkable that he almost came all the way across the racetrack. That could have been potentially dangerous, but at the least, no harm, no foul, I think. I think he'll hang on to that 4th position. And now it's just going to be one more set of corners where Brandon Egerchik has to get off the throttle, use a little bit of brake, and then get back on the power, and that's him.
Yep, he's just got to make it through the clean, through the exit of the bus stop clean, which he does, and it's all about just keeping the power in that BMW GT4 car as it rockets around NASCAR 3 and 4. And off of NASCAR 4 in a number 86 BMW GT4 to win the Operation eMotorsport Winter 2021 season opener, Brandon Egerchik dominating today. 3 seconds back, we'll find Christopher Bailey with the open class victory. What a great job he did in a pool of pro drivers. Christopher Bailey goes on to win, and they'll be 24 seconds ahead of the next closest competitor. 3rd place, Paul Lindsay, comes off of NASCAR 4, and Paul Lindsay will finish in the 3rd position.
He may have taken the pole. Didn't quite have the pace of the top 2 here today, but he'll still have a lot to show for it in his series debut. So we backtrack a little bit farther. This is going to be David Levine coming home on the 4th position. A little bit of an incident there on the last lap. Not going to be too much of a hurt there. He was pretty much slotted into the 4th position, barring incidents for the competitors ahead of him.
Yep, and Levine comes to a stop. He's done it over. Shane Hunter, 5th. Burkhalter, 6th. Rodney Campbell now comes off, and we still have a battle back here. Actually, this is 1 lap down. This battle has ended. But, yeah, coming off of NASCAR 4 here, it will be Campbell and Travis Hill. Okay, that battle was actually closer than what it looked like on timing and scoring. It said there was about 24 seconds between them, but that was Travis Hill right there. And Hunter Reeve crosses the line. Tyler Langenberg, last car to cross the line on the lead lap. And we'll get the full results, obviously, after some post-race interviews. And I guess before that, don't you go away. We'll be right back to the action on Pit Stop TV with those post-race interviews from our overall winner, Brandon Egerchik, and more. We'll be right back.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.
And welcome, race fans, back to Pit Stop TV. We're here now for post-race coverage of the Operation eMotorsport Winter 2021 season opener here at Daytona. What a race it was, and what a race it was for race winner Brandon Egerchik. What a dominating race for you. It was really something. At the beginning, there was quite a battle for the lead, and talk to us what you're going through your mind with all those cars all over you.
What moves, but I think in the first 10 minutes I learned really quick there's a lot of respect and a lot of talent out there, and I was just kind of wanting to settle in, not make any moves myself, take advantage when there was advantage to be taken, but just kind of ride it out and feel it out and let it happen.
Yeah, for sure. Several times Chris Bailey was absolutely on it, trying to chase you down. Were you worried any of those times? And if you were, was there anything you could tell that maybe, or any of your weak spots that maybe he was really gaining time on you from?
I think my weak spots are a lot of people's weak spots. Really, the entry to one and getting a clean run through the bus stop. He had a cut track early on, but he was really fast. I spent more time looking at my mirror than anything there. And after my pit stop, I actually shut my F3 off because I did not want to see anything. I just wanted to focus. But he was that fast. He was the fastest car out here. Just whoever made the least mistakes is, where we're at here. He was the fastest car.
Right on. And then what does it mean to you to get a win here at Daytona? It's the season opener of the Winter 2021 season for Operation eMotorsport. And then the Daytona Road Course is a venue I'm sure a lot of drivers want to win at. But what does it mean to you to dominate today, 49 laps led, and to win?
I think the biggest piece I got to talk about the decals on my car if I can. Air Force Gaming is a Discord, an online gaming community, and they have their own website. Joining airmen around the world in all different gaming categories and inter-service competitions. It was actually recently promoted by a chief master sergeant in the Air Force Bass. I believe it was a Call of Duty thing, and there's really no racing community until recently. My teammate Charlie Bass, who you will see in the next race, decides to spearhead the operation, take Air Force gaming, and grow a racing community within it. So this is really the debut for Air Force gaming in the public eye. So it's pretty cool. I hope to see some growth within the racing side of the house, get the Air Force name out there, and share what we do with what you guys do. It's a great opportunity.
Fair enough. We did a bit there, but do you have anybody else to thank for your dominating performance today?
Probably my wife for letting me get a little time away. That's this is just good fun, guys.
Hey, fair enough. Congratulations on a dominating victory, a fun race, and yeah, best luck to you next week at not next week, next race, 2 weeks time at Road America.
Yeah, it was good fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to the next race.
Yeah, for sure. Once again, congratulations. And that was race winner, driver number 86, Brandon Egerchik, the overall winner and the winner in the pro category. And now I'm going to send it over to Trey Shuttlesworth, who's with our open winner. And really the driver I say had the most heart today in the field, Christopher Bailey, in that open category, the open race winner, Christopher Bailey. Trey?
Thank you, Emerson. So, Chris, thank you for joining us in the booth here briefly. What are your initial feelings getting out of the virtual cockpit? Definitely showed a lot of pace. Just came up a little bit short. How does it feel to walk away with second place and the class win?
Thanks, guys. Overall, I'm really happy with how it went. I made a couple kind of dumb mental errors early on that kind of put me back a little bit that I was trying to capitalize on to try and get back into the race. And overall, it went pretty well.
Good to hear that. Otherwise, outside of Daytona, how are you feeling looking ahead to our second round here? It'll be at Road America.
Feeling pretty confident. It's another track that I'm very comfortable at. The BMW, again, is probably going to have a little bit of an advantage, being that there's a lot of long straightaways. The Porsche tends to struggle a little bit with top speed, but it should be a really close race overall.
What would you say is your goal heading into that race? Looking to challenge for the overall win, or mostly just focused on getting the maximum class points?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Obviously, I want to contend for the class win, but it's always fun dicing it up with a lot of the pro guys. My main thing is going to be to eliminate some of the mistakes I had earlier today.
Fair enough. We'll look to see if you can capitalize on the mistakes from round one and make the most of it next week. Anyone you want to thank, Chris, for your efforts tonight?
I just wanted to thank Operation Motorsport as well as everybody over at Pit Stop TV. I hear the broadcast was really, really good. I haven't checked my phone yet, but I know I've got a lot of notifications from a lot of people that were watching, so looking forward to watching it back.
All right, good to hear that, Chris. Thank you for joining us in the booth, and congratulations on your class win tonight.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That was Chris Bailey. He'll win the open class here tonight. And next person we'll get to talk to, he got a decent amount of screen time tonight. He'll finish overall in what was, I believe, the 8th position tonight. Hunter Reeve. He wins the beneficiary class tonight.
Very different, especially being on the Porsche. The BMW just has so much power. You have to do a lot of planning on how you can get around somebody. So that made for a pretty entertaining race for me.
That's for sure. You were in a pretty intense battle there with Travis Hill, I think pretty much from after pit stops. And then there was just a lot of battles right there. I don't know how many you were directly involved with, but how was the battling at Daytona? I know this track promotes that a lot with, of course, the oval and that being used a lot of slipstream. And then just the flow of the corners also promotes that a lot of nose to tail racing until you can really set up the overtake. So how were the battles from your point of view?
They were good. I mean, like I said, I was having a lot of fun. There's a lot of tough battles too. So Yeah, I was close with Travis. I feel like I could catch him, and then there'd be 2 or 3 corners that he would just leave me at the exit. So it was a fun battle while it lasted.
Right. So winning here at Daytona, I know a lot of drivers want to. I know it was the beneficiary class win, but what does it mean to you? Uh, you were putting it up with the pro drivers. First of all, I think that's huge, and then second of all, what does a Daytona win mean to you?
I mean, I have a GM Goodrich fire suit, so I mean, I can say something, I guess.
Fair enough. Who do you have to thank for your beneficiary class win today?
Always Operation Motorsports, the just amazing organization. Thank you to Recaro, all the sponsors involved in this. And yeah, and thank you guys for covering it. You guys do such an awesome job.
Yeah, of course. Well, congratulations on your beneficiary class win, and best luck to you in 2 weeks' time at Road America.
Thank you.
Right on, and that was 8th place overall finisher, but beneficiary class winner Hunter Reeve, and Trey. What was this race to you? What you take away from this race mostly?
Firstly, it was awesome to have this series back and forth. It delivers some absolutely incredible road racing. It was a good combination here today. I think this is the first time we've actually, outside of the iRace of Remembrance, which was, I believe, back in November or December, this is the first time we've seen GT4 cars barring that event, and they're definitely a lot of fun. Definitely cool to see this as opposed to the Mazda Miata. Definitely two awesome cars, or rather classes of cars. And yeah, this was incredibly grueling race, considering the fact there were no driver swaps and it was 2 hours at a track that can be quite difficult despite the breaks you get on the oval.
Right, 2 hours. That is quite a challenge for any drivers, and then to see, especially these beneficiaries, stick it out for these 2 hours and give it their all. Hunter Reeve with the beneficiary class win, and then all the beneficiaries who stuck it out through a rough race, even if it wasn't their best race. They came through, and of course, what Operation Motorsport means to them, I think, helps a lot with that. But a 2-hour race at Daytona is quite a feat. I'm sorry, a 124-minute race at Daytona. It is 2 hours and 4 minutes, which I think is a nice little touch for Daytona at this time of year. And yeah, well, let's see how it shuck down with the unofficial race results here. Of course, Brandon Egerchek with the overall and pro category win. Christopher Bailey with the open category win. He comes home second overall. Paul Lindsay had a great day today, and then I'm not entirely sure what happened, but he ended up finishing third, 26.5 seconds off the pace, and he was in a battle with David Levine, which that was heavily interfered with some lap traffic, which we saw there towards the end. Shane Hunter comes home fourth, but third in that pro category. Dustin Burkhalter, again, elevated from open category to pro this season. He'll come home fifth overall, fourth in class. Rodney Campbell, sixth overall and second in open. Travis Hill, seventh overall. Hunter Reeve, eighth overall, but the beneficiary class winner, David Levine, will come home ninth overall. And Tyler Langenberg, 10th overall, 1 minute, 24 seconds off the pace.
So next we look beyond the top 10 and the first person to finish outside the top 10. It'll be Sean Knight. And we didn't talk about him a whole lot. We theorized that he might have started on the pits, and just judging from what we saw in the chat of the viewers of the race, he did in fact start in the pit lane, so a very impressive job. Just goes a lap down on the last lap as well, so great job for Sean Knight there. Then it'll be Jason Leach, who will finish 12th. Pretty solid recovery after an early incident, followed by Brian Winker. And then Brian Burkhart makes up 4 consecutive open class drivers for 11th through 14th. Theo Brolsema, he'll finish second in the beneficiary class with that 15th place finish, followed by Thomas Alson, who also had a pretty early incident, but still managed to have a pretty consistent finish here tonight. Callum Belden will finish third place in beneficiary class, 17th overall. Then it'll be Jake Gleason, Mark Bray, and Justin Jarrett had his fair share of trouble, still comes home 2 laps down, rounding out the top 20.
And here, the bottom 6, Brock Hogan in a beneficiary class, who'll finish 3 laps down, 21st overall. Tim Bernard, 22nd in that battle as well, 3 laps down to 22nd. David Dalton, 23rd in that open class category. He'll finish 4 laps down, 23rd overall. John Winker, 24th overall in that beneficiary class category, 14 laps down. Kurt Geidenkot, 15 laps down in that beneficiary class category. He'll be 25th overall. And Rick Hazlitt will round out the back of the field. He'll finish 45 laps down in that open category, 26th and last overall. And, yeah, what a race. That's how it all shook down. Of course, we couldn't do this race without all the sponsors, especially the Operation Motorsport sponsors, and Operation Motorsport themselves, of course. Operation Motorsport, a veteran-led non-profit foundation based in Raleigh, North Carolina, and Brighton, Ontario. It was founded on the basis of 3 simple words: excite, engage, and empower. Its mission is to engage through motorsport activities ill and injured service members and disabled veterans affected by military service, leading to aiding in their recovery and rehabilitation. Wow. And for more information, please visit operationmotorsport.org. Whether it's on track or on iRacing, Recaro Automotive is all about making driving safer, more comfortable, and more controlled. A driving experience that you can really feel. Recaro Automotive puts people first every time. An ergonomic sitting position means a comfortable sitting position, and with perfect seat contours and innovative features that support your body, Recaro Automotive makes driving fun, be it on the road or on the racetrack. Recaro Automotive performance seats are more than just a set of components. They exude innovation, quality, premium materials, craftsmanship, and genuine passion for cars. Recaro Automotive is proud to support Operation Motorsport's iRacing. And since day one, Mobil 1 Advanced Synthetic Motor Oils has been a part of every Corvette racing win. That tradition continues with the new mid-engine Corvette C8R. Today, Mobil 1 Racing 0W50 protects the next generation of America's sports car on the track, while Mobil 1 Advanced Synthetic is still found under the hood of every Corvette off the track. No matter where the hood of your Corvette is located, it's always been from Mobil 1 from day one. Mobil 1 is the world's leading synthetic motor oil brand, and the Corvette Racing C8R is now available on iRacing for anyone looking to experience the exhilarating mid-engine performance of the C8R in the virtual world. And of course, we couldn't do this without some of our own sponsors, of course. And when we think of our own sponsors, we think of Tucson Sound Art. Your picture, your music. You provide the image that you want, and they will custom create a beautiful framed high-quality canvas with a built-in Bluetooth speaker. With Sound Art, you get the best of both worlds. Visit TucsonSoundArt.com for additional info, and when you check out at Tucson Sound Art, make sure you use promo code PITSTOPTV at checkout and receive 10% off of your purchase. When it comes to your appearance, you deserve the best care that money can buy. At Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, the owner, Ashley Bullier, is a certified micropigmentation specialist who provides professional, safe, and personalized services. You can contact Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine at permanentmakeupinmaine.com, or you can call or text them at 207-358-8683. If you're looking for the best solutions for your permanent makeup concerns, give Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine a call today to book a consultation. And if you visit their Facebook page, Permanent Makeup and Cryo in Maine, you can enter in one of their monthly giveaways. Enter today. And who knows, you might just win. And Whiplash Media is Pit Stop TV's new parent organization, which specializes in various sim racing resources, including paint schemes, stream overlays, iRacing camera packs, and more. Whiplash Media is working hard on its presence in real racing, offering services such as photography, social media management, and public relations. Make sure you go to www.whiplash-media.com for more. And well, that's going to conclude our coverage tonight of the Operation eMotorsport Winter 2021 season opener at Daytona, and we at Pit Stop TV thank you for tuning in and joining us for tonight's action, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. Be sure to join us tomorrow evening as we bring you coverage of the Bluegrass iRacing Series at North Wilkesboro before taking the rest of the weekend off to participate in the iRacing Daytona 24, which will pick up the action Monday night with the usual doubleheader. The BRP iRacing Series heads to Eldora, and the Pacific Challenge GT3 Series heads to Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for the endurance race. We pick up the Operation eMotorsport action in 2 weeks' time, Tuesday, February 2nd at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin's Road America. Make sure you follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/pitstoptv, on Twitter at pitstoptv_, on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, and on YouTube at www.youtube.com/c/pitstoptv1 for all of us at Pitstop TV. Trey Shuttlesworth on mic with me this evening. Corey Rexford on social media management tonight. I'm Emerson Arden. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Sound art is a product that is a speaker and it's art. We combine it together and we call it sound art. What makes it so unique that any picture can be your speaker? Sound art gives you the high quality sound without the ugly speaker. This isn't a picture with a speaker, the picture is the speaker. Just imagine your wedding picture uploaded onto a canvas and now it's speaking 10,000 tunes. I mean, it's a very cool concept. What we like so much about it that you can take anything that means something very special to you, upload it on the canvas, have it hanging up in your room, your balcony, wherever you want to put it, and now it's a speaker. I mean, how cool is that? It's something that we have that and no one has. No one has this product. It's just a great gift to give anybody. It's just a neat concept. Around here we say, art never sounded so good.